I never thought I'd have to expose my own brother in front of our entire company board, but Marcus left me no choice. My name is Alexander Mitchell, and this is the story of how I protected our family's legacy from being stolen by the last person I expected to betray us. Our father, James Mitchell, built Mitchell Innovations from nothing, starting in our garage 30 years ago. He transformed his small tech repair shop into a $40 million technology solutions company. Dad always taught us that success comes from integrity, innovation, and treating your employees like family. Unfortunately, my brother seemed to miss that last lesson entirely. Growing up, Marcus was always the outgoing one, charming, social, and seemingly perfect for taking over the family business one day. I was quieter, more interested in the technical side of things. While Marcus was winning speaking competitions and leading school clubs, I was in the garage with Dad, learning how our products worked from the inside out. "Alex, understanding the heart of what we build is just as important as knowing how to sell it," Dad would say, showing me how to repair circuit boards when I was just 12. Those moments in the garage shaped who I became: a problem solver, an innovator, someone who cared about the details. But Dad never played favorites. He made sure both Marcus and I learned every aspect of the business. At least, that's what we thought he was doing. Looking back now, I realize Dad was watching us more carefully than we knew. When Marcus and I joined the company after college, we took different paths. I went into research and development, while Marcus headed straight for sales and marketing. Under Dad's leadership, we both rose through the ranks based on merit, not just our last name. "Both of you have different strengths," Dad would say during our family dinners. "Together, you could take this company to heights I never imagined." Everything changed 6 months ago when Dad was diagnosed with aggressive pancreatic cancer. The doctors gave him 3 months at most. Instead of spending his remaining time in a hospital, Dad chose to work until the end, making sure everything was in order. One evening, about a week after his diagnosis, Dad called me to his home office. He looked tired but determined. "Alex, I need you to do something for me," he said, pulling out a small black device. "This is a recording device. I want you to keep it with you during all company meetings for the next few months. Don't tell anyone about it, not even Marcus." I was confused but agreed. Dad had never steered me wrong before. "Trust me, son," he said, squeezing my shoulder. "Sometimes the truth needs a witness." Over the next 2 months, I recorded every meeting as Dad requested. Most were routine budget discussions, product launches, strategy sessions. Marcus was becoming more assertive in these meetings, often talking over others and pushing his agenda. I noticed Dad watching him carefully but saying nothing. Then, 3 weeks before Dad passed away, something strange happened. Marcus started having private meetings with board members, always one-on-one. I caught snippets of conversations about restructuring and new direction. Dad seemed to know something was happening, but he just nodded when I tried to bring it up. "Keep recording, Alex," was all he'd say. "Everything will become clear when it needs to." Dad passed away peacefully in his sleep 2 weeks ago. The entire company was devastated. He wasn't just our CEO, he was the heart and soul of Mitchell Innovations. The funeral was beautiful, with hundreds of employees coming to pay their respects. Many shared stories about how Dad had helped them through tough times, given them chances when no one else would. That's when Marcus started changing. It was subtle at first, taking over Dad's office without discussion, rescheduling meetings without consulting anyone, making decisions unilaterally. Then came the rumors about massive layoffs and selling off our research division, the division I led. Yesterday, Marcus called an emergency board meeting. As I walked into the boardroom, I could feel the tension. Our 12 board members sat around the massive oak table, many of them looking uncomfortable. Marcus stood at the head of the table, Dad's spot, with a thick folder in front of him. "Thank you all for coming," Marcus began, his voice dripping with artificial sympathy. "As we all continue to mourn our father's passing, we must also look to the future of Mitchell Innovations. That's why I've called this meeting." He opened the folder and started passing out documents. 2 weeks before his death, Dad signed new corporate documents. As his eldest son and the one he trusted most, he left me in complete control of the company. "These papers give me full voting rights and executive power." The board members started murmuring. Looking through the documents, I felt my heart race but remembered the recording device in my pocket. Dad's words echoed in my mind, "Everything will become clear when it needs to." Furthermore, Marcus continued, "I've developed a strategic plan to streamline our operations. We'll be selling off the research division and focusing entirely on sales and distribution. It's what Dad wanted, to maximize profitability." That's when I knew I had to act. Dad would never have wanted to sell off RD, it was the innovation heart of our company. I stood up slowly, pulling out my phone. Before we continue, I think we should hear what Dad really wanted, I said, connecting my phone to the projector. Marcus, would you like to explain these recordings, or should I play them? Marcus's confident smile faltered slightly. What recordings? This is hardly the time for dash. I pressed play. The screen came to life with footage from 2 months ago. Marcus in Dad's office, thinking they were alone. Come on, Dad, you need to sign these papers now. Marcus's voice rang out. You're sick. Let me take control before it's too late. Dad's tired but firm voice replied. No, Marcus, this company needs both you and your brother. I've already made arrangements. Alex? He's a glorified technician. He doesn't understand business like I do. Just sign the papers. Nobody needs to know about this conversation. The board watched in shocked silence as the recording continued, showing Marcus becoming increasingly aggressive, even threatening to contest any will or company structure that didn't put him in complete control. But that wasn't the most damaging recording. I played another from last week. Marcus meeting with our biggest competitor, discussing selling them our proprietary technology at a fraction of its value in exchange for a personal kickback. The boardroom erupted in chaos. Marcus lunged for my phone, but our head of security, who I'd quietly asked to attend, stopped him. This is all fake, Marcus shouted. He's doctored these recordings. I pulled out another device from my pocket, the original recorder Dad had given me. This is the source. Marcus, Dad knew what you were planning. He wanted the truth to come out. The board chairman, Mr. Peterson, stood up. I think we need to call an immediate vote. These recordings show clear attempts at corporate fraud and breach of fiduciary duty. You can't do this, Marcus sputtered. I have signed documents. Actually, I said, pulling out one final envelope. Dad left these with his lawyer. They're the real company succession documents, witnessed and notarized 3 months ago. He left joint leadership to both of us. Marcus, he wanted us to work together. The next hour was intense. The board voted unanimously to suspend Marcus pending a full investigation. Security escorted him from the building, his threats of lawsuits echoing down the hallway. As the boardroom cleared out, Mr. Peterson approached me. Your father told me to give you this after the truth came out, he said, handing me a sealed letter. I opened it with trembling hands. Dear Alex, if you're reading this, then you've discovered what your brother was planning. I'm sorry I had to put you in this position, but I needed to know if Marcus would choose integrity or greed when tested. You've always understood that Mitchell Innovations is more than just profits, it's about innovation, people, and doing what's right. I've watched you both since you were boys. While Marcus learned to charm and manipulate, you learned to build and create. The recording device wasn't just to catch your brother's schemes, it was to prove to the board that you have the wisdom to lead. The company needs both technical innovation and business acumen to succeed. I hoped Marcus would understand this, but he chose a different path. Now it's up to you to find the right partners to move forward. Remember what I taught you in the garage, success isn't just about what you build, but why you build it, led with integrity, innovation, and compassion. I'm proud of you, son. Love, Dad. The aftermath of the board meeting was intense. News of Marcus's attempted takeover and subsequent removal spread quickly through the company. Many employees came forward with stories of his recent inappropriate behavior and attempts to bully them into supporting his plans. The investigation revealed that Marcus had been planning this for months. He had forged documents, manipulated financial records, and even tried to bribe several board members. The evidence was overwhelming, and the board voted to terminate his employment permanently. But the hardest part wasn't the legal battles or restructuring the company, it was dealing with the personal betrayal. Marcus was my brother, and despite everything, part of me still hoped he would realize his mistakes and make amends. Instead, he launched a vicious media campaign, claiming I had orchestrated a coup against him. He hired expensive lawyers and tried to challenge everything in court, but Dad's foresight with the recordings and documentation meant every case was dismissed. 1 year has passed since that dramatic board meeting. Mitchell Innovations has grown stronger than ever. We've expanded our research division, launched 3 new product lines, and our employee satisfaction rates are at an all-time high. I often think about those days in the garage with Dad, learning not just about technology, but about values. He knew that the real threat to his legacy might come from within our own family, and he prepared for it with the same careful attention to detail he gave to everything else. Marcus eventually gave up his legal battles and moved across the country. Last I heard, he was trying to start his own company, but investors were wary given his history. Sometimes I wonder if he ever understood what Dad was trying to teach us, that true success comes from building something meaningful, not just profitable. The recording device sits in a frame on my office wall now, next to Dad's old workbench tools from the garage. It's a reminder that sometimes the quietest person in the room is the one you should watch most carefully, and that truth has a way of coming out when it needs to. We've instituted new company policies focusing on transparency and ethical business practices. Every major decision is now reviewed by an ethics committee that includes employees from all levels of the company. Dad would have loved that. He always said our employees were our greatest asset. The research division has become our crown jewel, developing technologies that help people around the world. We've started a scholarship program in Dad's name, helping young innovators learn both the technical and ethical sides of business. Sometimes, late at night when I'm working in my office, not Dad's, I kept my own, I look at his picture on the wall and imagine what he would think of everything that's happened. I can almost hear his voice. Keep building, Alex, not just products, but trust, integrity, and community. The company's success has exceeded even Dad's ambitious goals, but more importantly, we've stayed true to his vision of ethical innovation and employee-first policies. The board has become a true partner in maintaining this vision, with several members telling me they wish they'd recognized Marcus's true nature earlier. Last week, we hosted our annual company picnic, a tradition Dad started when the company was just 10 people in a garage. Now, with over 500 employees and their families attending, it's quite an event. As I watched children playing, colleagues laughing together, and teams collaborating on fun projects, I realized this was Dad's true legacy, not just a successful company, but a community. The recording device that exposed Marcus's plans wasn't just a tool for revealing the truth, it was Dad's final lesson about leadership. Sometimes leading means watching quietly, gathering facts, and acting decisively when the moment is right. We've maintained the Mitchell family name on the company, but it now stands for something bigger than just our family. It represents the values Dad instilled: integrity, innovation, and treating everyone like family, real family, not the kind that tries to steal what isn't theirs. The garage where it all started has been preserved as a museum of sorts, showing employees and visitors where Mitchell innovations began. Dad's old workbench is still there, complete with the burn marks from my first attempts at soldering. It reminds everyone that great things can come from humble beginnings, as long as you build them on a foundation of truth and integrity. As for me, I've learned that leadership isn't about being the loudest or most charismatic person in the room. It's about staying true to your values, protecting what matters, and ensuring that success is measured not just in dollars, but in the lives you improve along the way. Dad's final gift wasn't just the company or the recordings that saved it. It was the lesson that true leadership means being willing to stand up for what's right, even when it means standing against your own family. Marcus never understood that, but I carry it with me every day. The future of Mitchell Innovations is brighter than ever, built on the foundation Dad created and protected by the truth he helped reveal. Every time I walk into our research lab or see our products helping people, I know we're continuing his legacy the right way. And that recording device on my wall? It's not just a reminder of how we exposed the truth, it's a symbol of Dad's wisdom in knowing that sometimes the best way to protect what matters is to let the truth speak for itself.
I stared at my phone, thumb hovering over the delete button. The Instagram photo showed my mother and sister beaming at the resort's welcome dinner, crystal glasses raised high. The caption read, "Cox Girls Only," followed by a string of heart emojis. I wasn't in it, of course. I'd been the one taking the photo. My name is Hannah, and I just spent $42,000 on a luxury villa vacation that I'm apparently not supposed to be in. Hannah, darling, could you check if they got my dietary restrictions right for tomorrow's breakfast? My mother's voice carried across the terrace, dripping with that special tone she reserved for service staff. And me. Already done, Mom. No dairy, extra egg whites. I tucked my phone away, forcing a smile. The Caribbean sunset painted everything gold, but somehow the warmth didn't reach our table. "That's why we keep you around," Tabitha, my sister, laughed. She was already on her third glass of champagne. "Our little personal assistant." I gripped my water glass tighter. "I'm actually the one who— Oh my God, did you see Sasha's arriving tomorrow?" Tabitha cut me off, waving her phone at our mother. "She has like 500,000 followers now. This trip is going to be amazing for her content." "Sasha?" I blinked. She wasn't on the guest list. I added her this morning, Tabitha shrugged. You can sort out her room situation, right? Maybe give her yours? You're better suited to the smaller guest room anyway. Mom nodded approvingly. Always thinking ahead, Tabitha. Unlike some people who just exist in the background. The resort staff brought out our main courses, and I watched them set down the perfectly plated meals I'd spent weeks coordinating with the chef. My mother immediately began photographing her dish. Hannah, your hair is reflecting oddly in my shot, she sighed. Could you move? I stood up automatically, years of conditioning kicking in. As I shifted my chair, a memory flashed. Me at 12, being told to wait in the car while they went shopping. Me at 16, left behind at a restaurant because the table only seats 2. Me at 24, planning my mother's birthday party only to be introduced as the help. Actually, I said, sitting back down firmly, I think I'll stay right here. Don't be difficult, Tabitha rolled her eyes. We need these shots for the gram. You know how it is. First impressions. First impressions, I echoed. My platinum member card felt heavy in my pocket. The one they didn't know about. The one that made this whole trip possible. Speaking of impressions, my mother pursed her lips. Couldn't you have worn something more appropriate for dinner? That sundress is rather basic. It's reformation, I said quietly. It's trying too hard, Tabitha smirked. Like your luggage. I mean, really, Hannah, a Samsonite. They laughed, heads together, a perfect picture of exclusivity. I picked up my phone again and opened the resort's app, checking the membership terms one more time. There it was, in clear text. Primary member must be physically present for all premium amenities and access. Oh, Hannah, my mother called out, not even looking up from her phone. We're thinking of doing an early check-in to the villa tomorrow while you handle the luggage transfer. Be a dear and make sure everything's arranged. I felt something shift inside me. A quiet click, like a lock falling into place. Of course, I smiled. I'll take care of everything. They clinked glasses again, snapping more photos without me. I watched them pose and preen, knowing they had no idea what was coming. My finger traced the edge of my member card, and for the first time in years, I felt something other than hurt. I felt powerful. To family, they toasted. To karma, I whispered to myself and opened my laptop to begin planning. Later that night, as I lay in my basic hotel room, I received a text from my best friend Thea. How's it going with the toxic twins? I sent her the Cox Girls Only photo and waited. 3 dots appeared, then, please tell me you're not letting them get away with this again. I thought about the villa's strict access protocols, about my carefully crafted itinerary, about all the premium experiences that required member authorization, about how neither my mother nor Tabitha had bothered to read the fine print when I offered to handle the boring details. Don't worry, I typed back. For once, being the invisible organizer is going to work in my favor. I set my alarm early, knowing tomorrow would be interesting. Very, very interesting. Morning arrived with the kind of perfect sunshine that belongs in travel brochures. I was already up, watching my mother and sister rush through breakfast from my quiet corner of the resort cafe. Hannah, Tabitha's voice cut through my peace. Why aren't these bags organized yet? Sasha lands in 2 hours. I looked up from my coffee. I thought we were all checking in together at 3. Change of plans, my mother announced, dropping her designer luggage tag in front of me. Tabitha and I are heading to the villa early. We need to get the best rooms set up for photos before Sasha arrives. You understand? Actually, I started. Oh my God, Tabitha interrupted, picking up my carry-on. Is this seriously from Target? How embarrassing. Keep it in your room when Sasha's around, okay? I watched them huddle over Tabitha's phone, planning their content schedule. A memory surfaced, my high school graduation, them leaving early for a spa day because the ceremony was dragging. I'd walked across the stage to empty seats. Hannah, my mother's sharp tone yanked me back. Are you listening? We need you to handle check-in for Sasha while we get settled. Just stay here with the luggage. You'll only clutter up the photos anyway. Right, I said softly. Because I'm just the planner. Exactly, Tabitha beamed, missing my sarcasm entirely. Finally, you're getting it. Come on, Mom, the golf cart's waiting. They clicked away in their matching designer sandals, leaving me with a mountain of luggage and their room preferences scribbled on a napkin. I pulled out my phone and opened my messages. They're doing it again, I typed to Thea. Tell me you're not letting them, she replied instantly. Just watch. I switched to the resort app and pulled up my membership profile. With 3 taps, I confirmed my settings. No proxy check-ins allowed. Member must be physically present for all access. My phone buzzed. A text from Tabitha. Having the staff move our things now. Handle Sasha's arrival. Don't need you here until dinner. I smiled and typed back. Okay. Good luck with check-in. The resort's head concierge, Marco, approached my table. Ms. Hannah, everything is prepared according to your specifications. Shall I inform you when your family arrives at the villa? Please do, I nodded. And Marco, remember what we discussed about the membership requirements? Of course, madam. Only you can authorize access. It's our strictest policy. I checked my watch. In about 20 minutes, my mother and sister would arrive at the villa, full of self-importance and Instagram dreams. In 21 minutes, they'd learn what members only really meant. My phone chimed again. A message from Sasha. Landing soon. Can't wait to create content with the Cox girls. I typed back. Looking forward to it. By the way, what's your stance on family karma? While waiting, I scrolled through old photos. There we were at Disney World, me holding everyone's bags outside the rides. Christmas morning, me playing photographer while they posed with presents. Mom's wedding to her second husband, it lasted 6 months. Me coordinating with vendors while Tabitha gave the toast. Always present, never seen. My phone erupted. Multiple incoming calls from both of them. I declined each one, watching the notifications pile up. What do you mean we can't check in? Fix this now! The staff says we need you here. Ridiculous. Hannah, answer your phone. I finished my coffee slowly, savoring each sip. Then I opened my laptop and pulled up the villa's security feed, a perk of my platinum membership. There they were, gesturing wildly at the front desk, their perfectly curated outfits getting wrinkled by the minute. This is absolutely unacceptable. I could hear my mother's voice through the feed. Do you know who we are? The staff remained professionally calm. We understand, madam, but we cannot override the membership protocols. Only Ms. Hannah can authorize villa access. But we're her family. Nevertheless, madam. My phone buzzed again. A message from Thea. Well? I sent her a screenshot of the security feed. She replied with a row of popcorn emojis. Finally, I picked up my embarrassing Target luggage and headed toward the spa for my scheduled massage. As I walked, my mother's call came through again. This time, I answered. Yes? Hannah, she hissed. What is the meaning of this? Get over here immediately. I paused, letting the moment stretch. Oh, I thought you didn't need the planner until dinner. I'd hate to... What was it? Clutter up your photos? Hannah, I have a massage booked, I said pleasantly. We can discuss the check-in situation afterward, unless, of course, you'd like to rethink the room arrangements. The silence on the other end was delicious. I'll see you in 2 hours, I said, and hung up. For the first time in my life, I was calling the shots. And I was just getting started. The spa's eucalyptus-scented tranquility shattered when my phone vibrated for the 47th time. I knew because I'd been counting. Your family is quite persistent, my massage therapist said diplomatically, eyeing the buzzing phone. They're learning a valuable lesson in patience, I replied, just as another staff member knocked on the door. Ms. Hannah? Sorry to interrupt, but your sister is rather adamant about speaking with you. She's in the lobby. I wrapped myself in the plush robe and checked my phone. 14 missed calls, 23 texts, and Oh, a live Instagram story. I clicked play. There was Tabitha, perfectly made up despite the heat, recording herself in the resort lobby. Literally stranded here because someone is on a power trip. Can you believe this? We're being held hostage by our own sister. I stepped into the lobby just as she was starting another take. No one's holding you hostage, Tabitha. You're free to check into any other hotel. She whirled around, phone still recording. Finally! Do you have any idea what you've put us through? Mom's about to have a breakdown. Sasha's landing any minute, and we're stuck in the lobby like common tourists. Where is Mom anyway? Trying to reach Dad to talk some sense into you, she snapped. I laughed. Dad? The one she hasn't spoken to in 8 years? That should be interesting. This isn't funny, Hannah. Do you know how many followers are watching this drama? I do, actually. Your story's getting quite a bit of engagement, especially the part where you called me the help. Her face fell slightly. That was a joke. Was it? Like when you told everyone at my college graduation party that I was the hired event planner? That was years ago. Or last Christmas when you took credit for the entire holiday dinner I spent 3 days cooking. You're being ridiculous, she huffed, but her phone had dropped to her side. Just authorize our check-in and we can forget this whole thing. No. No? Not until we establish some new rules. Mom chose that moment to storm in, her designer sundress slightly wilted from the heat. Hannah, Marie, this childish behavior stops now. I've had to cancel our sunset photo shoot and Sasha is right here. A cheerful voice called out. We turned to see a tall, glamorous woman wheeling her luggage through the lobby doors. Oh my God, this place is amazing. I've been following your stories, Tabitha. Such drama. My followers are living for it. I watched my sister's face cycle through panic, embarrassment, and forced charm. Sasha, we're just having a tiny family discussion. About the membership thing? I looked it up. It's actually a super exclusive program, Sasha said, turning to me with unexpected warmth. You must be Hannah. The staff at the airport couldn't stop talking about how you arranged everything. Mom's eyes narrowed at this shift in dynamics. Yes, Hannah's very good at arrangements, which she's currently using to manipulate us. Actually, I said, pulling out my member card, I'm just following the rules. Rules that were made very clear when I spent $42,000 on this trip. You what? Tabitha's phone dropped completely. 42,000? Mom's voice went up an octave. But we thought the company paid. My company? The one you tell everyone is just a little planning business? No, Mom, I paid. For everything. Including the private chef you bragged about on Facebook without tagging me. Sasha's eyes were darting between us like she was watching a tennis match. Her phone was definitely recording. So here's how this works, I continued, feeling surprisingly calm. The villa has 4 master suites, equal size, equal view. No one gets the best room because I'm the member and I say they're all equal. Photos will include everyone who wants to be in them. And most importantly, I'm not staff, I'm family. Either accept those terms or find another resort. The lobby fell silent. Mom's face had gone from red to white. Tabitha was staring at her feet. And Sasha? Sasha was grinning like she'd just won the content lottery. I think that sounds perfectly reasonable, Sasha said brightly. And honestly, this whole thing would make an amazing series about family dynamics and standing up for yourself. This is private family business, Mom hissed. Not anymore, I said, nodding at Tabitha's phone, still broadcasting. So what's it going to be? They exchanged looks, the kind they'd shared over my head my entire life. But this time, I held all the cards. Fine, Mom finally said through gritted teeth. We accept your terms. Wonderful. I turned to the waiting staff. Marco, please help my family with their luggage. We're ready to check in now. As we walked to the golf carts, Sasha fell into step beside me. That was badass, she whispered. Think you could teach me about membership programs sometime? I smiled, watching my mother and sister trail behind us like chastised children. Absolutely. Lesson 1. Always read the fine print. For the first time since arriving, I led the way, and no one told me to move out of frame. The villa's private dining room hummed with tense energy as our first group dinner began. Mom kept adjusting her napkin, a nervous tell I recognized from childhood. Tabitha was uncharacteristically quiet, tapping her perfectly manicured nails against her water glass. So, Sasha broke the silence. Hannah, tell me more about your business. The staff mentioned you handle logistics for some major clients? Before I could answer, Mom jumped in. Oh, Hannah just does some basic planning work. Nothing too... Actually, I interrupted. I run a luxury logistics firm. We handle everything from corporate retreats to royal weddings. Tabitha choked on her wine. Royal weddings? Remember last summer when I couldn't make it to your cat's birthday party? I was in Dubai, coordinating a sheikh's daughter's wedding. But you never said... Mom trailed off. You never asked. The chef arrived with our first course, addressing me directly. Ms. Hannah, I've prepared the tuna tartare exactly as we discussed. The wasabi pearls you suggested are a beautiful touch. Thank you, Antoine. It looks perfect. Mom's fork clattered against her plate. You know the chef by name? Of course she does, Sasha chimed in, photographing her dish. Hannah's apparently their most elite member. The spa director couldn't stop raving about her. I watched my sister's face darken. This wasn't how things usually went. Normally, she was the center of attention, the one people fawned over. Speaking of membership, I said casually, everything on this trip is under my name. Think about that before calling me the help again. The silence that followed was delicious. A resort guest approached our table, champagne in hand. I'm so sorry to interrupt, but are you the Cox family? We heard about the amazing private sailing tour tomorrow. Yes, Tabitha perked up instantly. I arranged... Oh, you must be Hannah's sister. The woman smiled. We met Hannah at the members' lounge earlier. She's quite exceptional, isn't she? The way she coordinated everything. I sipped my wine, watching Tabitha deflate like a punctured balloon. Mom's face had developed an interesting twitch. Hannah? Sasha said. Would you mind if I featured some of this in my content? My followers would love a behind-the-scenes look at luxury travel planning. I don't think... Mom started. I'd be happy to, I cut in. As long as I'm credited properly this time. The barb landed. Mom's hand shook as she reached for her wine glass, and suddenly I was 12 again, sitting in Dr. Parker's office during our one and only attempt at family therapy. Can you recall a moment when you felt truly valued by your mother? The therapist had asked. I couldn't, not one. Hannah? Sasha's voice pulled me back. You okay? Perfect, I smiled, just remembering something. The rest of dinner passed in a blur of exquisite food and pointed conversations. Every staff member who approached directed their questions to me. Every compliment landed squarely in my court. The power dynamic had shifted so completely it was almost comical. As dessert arrived, Mom tried one last time to regain control. Hannah, darling, about tomorrow's schedule. Already set, I said firmly. Unless you'd prefer to book your own activities? Without my membership discount, of course. She blanched at the implied cost. Later, as we walked back to our suites, Tabitha grabbed my arm. This isn't like you, Hannah. All this assertiveness. What happened to my little sister who used to do anything to make everyone happy? She grew up, I replied, gently removing her hand, and she's done being invisible. We never meant to. Yes, you did. I turned to face her. You and Mom have been pushing me into the background my entire life. Well, guess what? The background player just became the main character. You're being dramatic. Am I? Tell me, Tabitha, why did Eric break up with me 6 years ago? She went pale. What? Sasha mentioned something interesting earlier, about you and my ex. That was... Save it, I said quietly. I already know. I just wanted to see if you'd finally tell the truth. I left her standing in the hallway, her perfect facade cracking just a little. Back in my suite, I opened my laptop to check tomorrow's schedule. A message from Thea popped up. "How's the revenge tour going?" I sent her a photo of dinner, everyone's faces telling their own story. Mom's barely concealed anger, Tabitha's wounded pride, Sasha's fascinated documentation, and me. Finally, in the center of the frame. "They're learning," I typed. "Slowly." "Good," she replied, "because I just booked my flight. Time to really shake things up." I smiled, thinking of tomorrow's carefully planned activities. They thought today was bad? They had no idea what was coming. The best revenge, after all, is served in courses. And we were just getting to the main dish. Morning brought another perfect day and a complete shift in tactics from my mother and sister. I should have known they wouldn't go down without a fight. "Hannah, sweetie," Mom cooed, appearing at my breakfast table. "You look lovely today. That swimsuit really brings out your eyes." I raised an eyebrow. "Yesterday you called it department store chic." "Oh, I was just teasing. You know how proud we are of you, don't you? All this success with your business. The one you told Aunt Linda was a cute little hobby?" She flinched but recovered quickly. "Misunderstanding. Now, about today's yacht excursion. Already arranged. We leave in an hour." "Perfect. And could you maybe—" "No. You don't even know what I was going to ask. You were going to ask me to rearrange the seating so you and Tabitha could get better photos. The answer is no." Her smile tightened. "You've become quite assertive." "Funny how that happens when you stop accepting scraps of attention." Tabitha appeared, looking suspiciously cheerful. "Morning, family. Hannah, you absolute goddess, could you help me with something? Sasha needs a helicopter tour arranged for her content, and since you're so amazing at planning—" "Still treating me like your personal assistant?" I asked mildly. "Even after yesterday?" "What?" "No, I just thought, since you're so good at— Sasha can book her own tour, through the regular channels, like everyone else." "But—" "No." They exchanged looks, the kind that used to make my stomach knot with anxiety. Now I just found it amusing. "Fine," Tabitha snapped, dropping the act. "Be difficult. But remember, we're still your family." "Are we?" "Because families don't usually have group chats called Hannah the House Mouse." They both froze. Sasha, who had been approaching our table, stopped mid-step. "How did you—" Tabitha's voice was barely a whisper. "Maybe don't leave your phone unlocked when you're drunk by the pool," I said, standing up. "The yacht leaves in 50 minutes. Don't be late. The member has to be present for departure." I walked away, leaving them stammering. Sasha hurried after me. "Okay, that was intense," she said, "but also kind of iconic. Listen, about that group chat. I saw some of those messages when Tabitha was showing me photos, and I need to tell you something." "What?" "It's about Eric. Your ex?" My stomach clenched. "What about him?" "The reason he broke up with you. Tabitha didn't just steal him after. She was seeing him for months while you were together. She used to brag about it in their social circle." The world tilted slightly. "She— what?" "She told everyone it was okay because you were just the practice girlfriend anyway. Your mom knew too." "I'm sorry, I thought you should hear it from someone." 6 years of wondering what I'd done wrong crashed down around me. All those family dinners where they'd comforted me about the breakup, knowing the truth. "Hannah?" Sasha touched my arm. "You okay?" "Perfect," I said, pulling out my phone. "Excuse me, I need to make some calls." 10 minutes later, I had rearranged the entire day. The yacht's open bar was now a cash bar, members' privileges revoked. The premium photo spots? Suddenly reserved for other guests. The Wi-Fi? Mysteriously slow for everyone except my devices. Mom cornered me as we boarded. "Hannah, let's be reasonable. We can work this out like adults." "Like we worked out Eric?" I asked sweetly. She paled. That was years ago. Save it. I know everything now. 6 years of lying to my face, watching me blame myself. You know what the worst part is? I actually believed you loved me enough to help me through that breakup. I do love you. We both do. We wanted to protect you. From what? The truth? Or from outshining your precious Tabitha? That's not fair. Neither was watching my sister steal my boyfriend with my mother's blessing. But here we are. The yacht's captain approached. Ms. Hannah, we're ready when you are. Thank you, Captain Phillips. I turned back to my mother. Enjoy the cruise. Oh, and the bar? It's cash only now. Hope you brought your wallet. I moved to the upper deck, claiming the best spot. Below, I could hear Tabitha discovering her Instagram stories weren't uploading properly. My phone buzzed with a message from Thea. Landing in 2 hours. Ready to drop some more truth bombs? I looked at my family below. My mother pretending everything was fine. My sister frantically trying to salvage her content plans, both of them finally experiencing consequences. More than ready, I typed back. Time to burn the whole facade down. Because I was done being the family mouse. It was time to roar. The villa's atmosphere crackled with tension as I keyed in the new Wi-Fi password, locking Tabitha and Sasha out of their precious streaming capabilities. A small revenge, but watching them frantically reset their phones brought me a peculiar joy. This is ridiculous. Tabitha paced the living room. I have content deadlines. Tragic, I replied, just as the front door chimed. Thea walked in, designer suitcase rolling behind her, looking exactly like the high-powered attorney she was. Hope I'm not interrupting family drama? Thea? Mom stood up sharply. What are you doing here? I invited her, I said. Member privileges and all that. But this is a family trip. Exactly. And Thea's more family than some people in this room. Tabitha's face darkened. If this is about Eric... Oh, it's about so much more than Eric, Thea cut in, her courtroom voice making everyone flinch. Should we discuss the trust fund Hannah never knew about? Mom went pale. How did you... I'm a lawyer, Mrs. Cox. Finding buried financial documents is literally my job. I turned to my mother slowly. What trust fund? It's not what you think. Dad left us both trust funds, Tabitha blurted out. But Mom said you'd just waste yours on your little planning business, so... So, you stole it, I finished. My own mother stole my inheritance. Protected it, Mom protested. You were too young. I was 25. The pieces clicked together. That's why you discouraged me from starting my company. Why you kept pushing me to take that banking job. You were hiding the money. We were investing it wisely, Mom said primly. For your future. In Tabitha's influencer career, Thea added. Very wise investment. Sasha, who'd been quietly filming everything, whistled low. This is better than any reality show. Hannah, Tabitha stepped forward. You have to understand. I understand perfectly. Every time you called my business cute, every time you treated me like staff, you were using my own money to do it. I pulled out my phone and opened the resort app. A few quick taps and... What happened to the lights? Mom demanded as the villa dimmed. Member services reduced to basic level, I said. No more premium utilities, no more concierge access, no more room service. You can't do this. Actually, I can. Just like I can cancel tomorrow's wine tasting. And the spa treatments. And... Enough! Mom shouted. You're just like your father. Petty, jealous, always trying to buy love. The room went silent. What did you just say? I asked quietly. Your father, she spat. Always throwing money around, thinking it could fix everything. That's why I left him. That's why I had to protect the trust fund. You're turning into him. Good, I said, surprising everyone. Because Dad was the only one who ever saw me. Really saw me. No wonder you had to drive him away. I didn't. The gaslighting stops now, Thea interrupted. Hannah has copies of everything. The trust documents, the transfer records. Even those lovely group chat screenshots about the house mouse. Would you like to see how that plays out in court? Mom sank onto the couch. Tabitha started to cry. Not genuine tears, I noticed, but the pretty kind she used for Instagram. Here's what's going to happen, I continued. You're going to transfer my trust fund back to me, with interest. Every penny. Or Thea here will make your financial manipulations very, very public. You wouldn't dare, Mom whispered. We're family. Family? I laughed. Family doesn't steal inheritances. Family doesn't help their daughter steal their other daughter's boyfriend. Family doesn't create chat groups to mock their own child. The villa's chef chose that moment to appear. Ms. Hannah? Dinner is ready to be served. Thank you, Antoine. Please set an extra place for my friend Thea. Of course. And for the others? I looked at my mother and sister, these women who had shaped my insecurities for so long. They can order delivery. I hear the pizza place in town is decent. This is insane, Tabitha protested. You can't just... I can. I am. And tomorrow you're both going to sit down with Thea and sign whatever documents she puts in front of you. Or this little vacation drama becomes headline news. You're bluffing, Mom said weakly. Sasha finally spoke up. She's not. My followers would go crazy for this story, and I have it all on video. I stood up, straightening my basic sundress. Dinner's at 7. Thea, shall we? As we walked to the dining room, leaving them in their dimmed luxury prison, Thea squeezed my arm. You okay? I thought about all the years of feeling small, of being the family mouse. You know what? For the first time in my life, I actually am. Behind us, I could hear Tabitha discovering that room service wouldn't accept her calls. Sometimes karma needed a little help, and I was more than happy to assist. The storm rolled in just as we gathered in the villa's study for the final confrontation. Thunder punctuated the silence as Thea laid out the documents on the mahogany desk. It's quite simple, Thea explained, her lawyer voice crisp and clear. Sign here to return Hannah's trust fund with accumulated interest, and here to acknowledge the financial misconduct. Mom's hand shook as she held the pen. This will ruin us. No, I corrected. This will make things fair. Finally. I can't believe you're doing this to your own family, Tabitha sniffled, her mascara artfully smudged. After everything we've done for you. Everything you've done to me, I cut in. Let's be specific. Shall we list it all? Sasha, are you recording? Rolling, Sasha confirmed from her corner. Don't you dare, Mom started. Age 12, left at home during the family vacation because someone needed to watch the house. That was age 16. Told all my friends I was the hired help at my own birthday party. We were joking. Age 22. Helped my sister seduce my boyfriend while consoling me about our relationship problems. Tabitha at least had the grace to look ashamed. Age 25. Stole my inheritance because you decided I wasn't worthy of it. We were protecting you, Mom exploded. You were always so what? So ordinary. While Tabitha shone, you just existed. We had to make sure the money went somewhere useful. The room fell silent except for Sasha's quiet holy shit and the sound of her camera focusing. Ordinary, I repeated. The daughter who graduated summa cum laude, who built a 7-figure business from scratch, who planned every family event, managed every crisis, and kept every secret. That daughter? Lightning flashed, illuminating everyone's faces. Sign the papers, I said quietly. Or tomorrow, Sasha releases the footage of this conversation, Thea files the lawsuit, and every carefully curated social media lie comes crashing down. You wouldn't, Tabitha whispered. Try me. Mom's pen scratched across the paper. Tabitha followed suit, her signature as shaky as her breathing. There's one more thing, Thea said, pulling out another document. This is a formal acknowledgement of the emotional abuse and manipulation. Sign it. Abuse? Mom laughed hysterically. We gave you everything. Except love, I said. Except respect. Except a place at the table that wasn't behind a serving tray. That's not fair. No, what's not fair is spending my entire life trying to earn the love that you gave Tabitha freely. What's not fair is discovering that while I was building my business, you were using my own money to fund her Instagram career. Thunder crashed again. Sign it, Thea repeated. Or we go public. They signed. Perfect. Thea gathered the papers. These will be filed first thing tomorrow. So that's it? Tabitha stood up. You've gotten your revenge. Happy now? I looked at my sister, really looked at her. Behind the perfect makeup and practiced pout, I saw something new. Fear. Fear of losing her carefully constructed image. Fear of facing real consequences. This isn't revenge, I said. This is consequences. For the first time in your life, you're facing them. What happens now? Mom's voice was small. Now? You have two choices. You can stay here for the remaining 2 days, following my rules, treating me like an actual family member. Or you can check into the hotel in town. Your decision. They exchanged looks. That familiar silent communication that had excluded me for years. But this time, I didn't feel left out. I felt free. We'll stay, Mom finally said. Fine, but understand this. The old dynamic is dead. No more house mouse. No more treating me like staff. No more pretending I don't exist unless you need something. Sasha lowered her camera. This is going to change everything, you know. Once people see how they treated you, their carefully curated social media empire might crumble. I smiled. That's not my problem. Hannah, Tabitha tried one last time. We're still family. No, I corrected her. We're still related. Family is something you earn, and you've got a lot of earning to do. As if on cue, the storm began to ease. Through the window, I could see the clouds breaking, revealing stars. The car will be here in 10 minutes to take us to dinner, I announced. I suggest you fix your makeup, Tabitha. Wouldn't want your followers to see you looking ordinary. She flinched at her own word thrown back at her. As they filed out, Thea squeezed my hand. You okay? I looked around the room where I'd finally claimed my power, where years of pain had transformed into strength. The most luxurious thing I bought this week, I said, was my self-worth. And for the first time in my life, I felt truly rich. The last morning at the villa dawned clear and bright. I sat on my private balcony, watching the staff load luggage into separate cars. One for me and Thea, another for my mother and sister. Your coffee, Ms. Hannah, Marco said, setting down my final breakfast. Will you be returning to us soon? Already booked for Christmas, I smiled. Just for myself this time. My phone buzzed with a notification. Sasha had posted the first part of her Family, Fame, and Facades series. The view count was already astronomical. Hannah? Mom's voice came from the doorway. She looked smaller somehow, less polished. May we speak with you? I gestured to the empty chairs. She and Tabitha sat down, both unusually subdued. Sasha's video, Tabitha started, is truth, I finished. Pure and simple. It's destroying everything we built, she whispered. My followers are unfollowing. Brands are canceling contracts. Funny how karma works. Please, Mom leaned forward. We can fix this. Take it down. We'll do better, we promise. I stirred my coffee slowly. You know what I realized this week? You two aren't actually good at anything except appearances. Every real achievement in this family, every event, every crisis managed, every actual success, that was all me. That's not... Mom stopped as Tabitha touched her arm. She's right, Tabitha said quietly. I've never actually built anything. I just took pretty pictures and took credit for other people's work. Mostly yours. Recognition. Finally. I set down my cup. But it's too late. It doesn't have to be, Mom pleaded. We can start over. No, we can't, Because you're not sorry for what you did. You're sorry you got caught. There's a difference. A new notification popped up on my phone. A message from Dad. Saw Sasha's video. I'm so proud of you for standing up for yourself. Call me? I showed them the message. Mom's face tightened. Your father always encouraged your independence. You mean he saw me as a person, not an accessory? Tabitha started crying. Real tears this time, not the Instagram kind. I don't know who I am without the facade. That's not my problem to fix, I said, but gently. Maybe it's time you built something real of your own. And what about me? Mom asked. Am I just supposed to accept losing both my daughters? You never really had us, Mom. You had a star and a servant. Neither of those was real. The staff appeared to announce the cars were ready. We stood up, this broken little family of pretenders. I'm keeping the house mouse chat screenshots, I said as we walked downstairs. Consider them insurance. And us? Tabitha asked. What are we now? DNA matches. Anything beyond that has to be earned. With time, with respect, with genuine change. In the driveway, Thea waited by our car while Sasha filmed one final scene from hers. Ready to go? Thea asked. Almost. I turned to my mother and sister one last time. I don't hate you. I just don't need you anymore. That's probably worse, isn't it? They didn't answer. They didn't have to. Goodbye, Mom. Tabitha, enjoy flying commercial. As our car pulled away, I watched them in the rearview mirror. Two perfectly styled women whose perfect world had just crumbled. Not with a bang, but with the quiet click of a camera and the truth it revealed. You okay? Thea asked. Look, I showed her my phone. The resort's booking confirmation for Christmas glowed on the screen. Front row, on my terms. Speaking of terms, she grinned, your trust fund transfer cleared this morning. 7 figures of freedom. I rolled down the window, letting the Caribbean air wash over me. You know what the best revenge is? What? Living well, and making sure they have to watch from the cheap seats. My phone buzzed again. Another message from Dad. Having dinner in New York next week. Join me? Yes, I typed back. I'm done sitting at the kids' table. Sasha's video hit 1 million views as we reached the airport. The comments were flooding in. Finally, someone exposed these fake influencer families. Team Hannah forever. This is what real strength looks like. I posted my first and only comment on the video. Maybe karma just needed a planner. Then I turned off my phone, leaned back in my first-class seat, and smiled. Let them scramble to rebuild their paper castle of likes and followers. I had something better. I had myself. Front and center. No filter needed. And that was worth every penny of the $42,000 I spent to learn it.
The smell of industrial bleach burns my nostrils as I scrub someone else's vomit off the bathroom floor. 3rd time this week. Welcome to the glamorous life of a night janitor at Tech Valley's most prestigious startup incubator. I'm Sylvia, and this is what supporting my brother's dreams looks like. My phone buzzes. Mum's calling, probably to remind me about tonight's family meeting. I let it go to voicemail. The less I talk to her during work hours, the better I can focus on getting through my shift. Hey, new girl, my supervisor's voice echoes through the bathroom. Conference room B needs attention. Someone spilled red wine all over the carpet. Of course they did, because cleaning up literal shit isn't enough for one night. 4 hours later, I drag myself home to our shared family house, my hands raw from chemicals and my back aching. The lights are still on at 1 a.m, not surprising. Hugo's entrepreneur hours mean the whole household revolves around his schedule. I find them all in the living room, Mum perched on her favourite armchair, Dad in his recliner, and Hugo sprawled across the couch with his laptop, looking fresh as a daisy. Finally, Mum springs up. We've been waiting for hours, sweetie. Some of us have actual jobs, Mum, I mutter, but she's already talking over me. Hugo has amazing news. She's practically vibrating with excitement. Tell her, honey. Hugo sits up, running a hand through his perfectly styled hair. So, get this. I've got investors interested in my new app. It's going to revolutionize the way people think about social media advertising. Just like his last 5 apps were supposed to do. That's great, I manage, heading for the stairs. I'm really tired. Sit down, Sylvia, Dad says in that tone that means there's no arguing. This involves you too. I sink into the remaining chair, already knowing where this is going. The thing is, Hugo leans forward, all enthusiasm and practiced charm. We need some bridge funding to get through the development phase, just for a few months. How much? I ask, though I already know it'll be more than I make in half a year. 50,000 should do it, he says casually, like he's asking to borrow $5 for coffee. The room spins. I don't have that kind of money. Well, Mum jumps in, her voice honey-sweet, but her eyes steel hard. We've been looking at the numbers, and if you pick up a second job, maybe that diner on 5th is hiring, we could make it work. A second? I stop myself, take a breath. I already work 60 hours a week. Your brother needs you, Dad says firmly. Family supports family. You don't want to be the reason Hugo's dreams fail, do you? Hugo gives me that look, the one he's perfected since childhood, part puppy dog, part wounded pride. I wouldn't ask if it wasn't important, Sil. This is the big one. I can feel it. Just like the last one was the big one, and the one before that. I'll think about it, I say, standing up before they can pile on more guilt. The investors need an answer by Friday, Hugo calls after me as I climb the stairs. In my tiny bedroom, I collapse onto my bed, still in my work uniform. My phone buzzes again. Mum, probably following up to make sure I understood the opportunity. I roll over and pull my ancient laptop from under the bed. The keyboard has 3 missing keys and the screen flickers, but it's mine. They don't know about it. Hugo would probably try to sell it for parts. Opening an incognito browser, I navigate to my email. The message I've been waiting for all day is there. Congratulations on completing Module 7 of Advanced Cybersecurity. Your test score, 98%. Below that, a personal note from my instructor, Nelson. Exceptional work, Sylvia. You're picking this up faster than any student I've had. Ready for Module 8? I click the link to the next lesson, adjusting my earbuds. My hands still smell like bleach, but for the first time today, I smile. They think I'm their ATM, their perpetual safety net, the reliable daughter who'll sacrifice everything for her brother's genius. They have no idea what's coming. I start the video lesson, taking careful notes as Nelson explains advanced penetration testing. Downstairs, I can hear them still talking, probably planning how to spend my next year's worth of paychecks. Let them talk. Let them plan. Let them think I'm exactly who they've always believed me to be. I've got plans of my own. Someone puked in the VIP section again, Hugo calls out, not bothering to look up from his phone. Handle it, will you? I'm already grabbing paper towels and disinfectant. This is his 4th networking event this month. Fancy parties disguised as investor meetups, funded by my overtime hours at the diner and night shifts at the incubator. And get me another bottle of the crystal, he adds. The good stuff. We've got a whale circling. The whale is a balding man in an expensive suit, cornered by Hugo near the DJ booth. I recognise him from tech magazines, Corey Rose, known for backing risky startups. Poor guy doesn't know what he's in for. As I clean up someone's expensive dinner, I hear Hugo's pitch floating over the music. Revolutionary algorithm, disrupt the entire industry, guaranteed returns. The same promises he made to the last 3 investors. My phone vibrates, a notification from my banking app. Hugo's just transferred another $5,000 from my account for emergency marketing expenses, the memo says. I take a quick photo of the transaction, adding it to my encrypted folder labelled Receipts. Sylvia! Mum's voice cuts through the crowd. She's here too, playing the proud mother role. The caterers need payment. Use your card, sweetie, and make sure they leave enough appetizers for the late arrivals. I hand over my card, watching her sweep away to charm another potential investor. The caterer gives me a sympathetic look as she swipes it. Hey. A woman touches my arm, Marley, Hugo's girlfriend and social media manager. Could you grab some club soda? Hugo spilled wine on his shirt. At least she says please, unlike the others. Back in my car after the party, I pull out my other phone, a basic burner, and dial a familiar number. Nelson? Sorry it's late. Quick question about that firewall bypass technique from Module 12. He answers on the second ring, like always. For the past year, he's been more than just my online instructor. He's become my mentor, my confidant, the only person who knows what I'm really capable of. The party went that well, huh? He says after hearing my voice. You could say that. Hugo just burned through another $5,000 of my money trying to impress Corey Rose. The venture capitalist? Interesting. Nelson pauses. You know, there are rumours about why he stopped investing in tech startups last year. Really? I'm already opening my laptop, fingers hovering over the keys. Might be worth looking into, especially if your brother's targeting him. After hanging up, I spend the next 3 hours doing what I do best, following digital breadcrumbs. Hugo's sloppy with his cloud security, always has been. It takes me less than an hour to access his private folders. What I find makes me sit up straight. Emails, doctored financial reports, photoshopped user statistics. A whole folder labelled pitch deck assets full of fake testimonials and inflated projections. Oh, Hugo, I whisper, downloading everything. You really outdid yourself this time. My phone buzzes. Mom again. Sweetie, Hugo needs you to cover his car payment this month. Just temporary, of course. His new app is going to change everything. I think about the evidence I've just uncovered. Sure, Mum, whatever Hugo needs. That's my girl. Oh, and don't forget, the diner called. You're late for your shift. I look at the clock, 3 a.m. In 4 hours, I need to be serving breakfast to grumpy commuters. But first I have studying to do. Opening my course portal, I see a new message from Nelson. Ready for your final certification exam? You've got the skills. Time to make them official. Below that, a link to a job posting. Junior Security Analyst, remote position. Salary that makes my current 3 jobs combined look like pocket change. My hands shake as I type my response. Ready. A new email pops up, from Hugo to our parents, marked urgent. Need to discuss Sylvia's savings account. Have an idea how to access the full amount. Let's talk when she's at work. I save the email to my receipts folder right next to the photos of Hugo's $200 haircuts and first-class flights to business meetings in Vegas. They think I'm their personal ATM, their faithful servant, the good daughter who'll keep funding their delusions. But I'm also the girl who spent every free moment of the past year learning how to break into systems, track digital footprints, and document evidence. And I'm done being their backup plan. Opening my certification practice exam, I start typing. Each keystroke brings me closer to freedom, while downstairs I can hear Hugo practicing his next investor pitch. Let him practice. Let him scheme. His house of cards is about to meet a very different kind of system crash. The sound of shattering glass echoes through the house. I rush downstairs to find Hugo standing over the remains of Mum's favourite vase, his face red with rage. "What do you mean he pulled out?" he screams into his phone. "The deal was practically closed." Mum hovers nearby, already sweeping up the glass while shooting me meaningful looks. I know what's coming. "Honey," she starts right on cue. "Hugo needs... How much?" I cut her off. 20,000, Hugo says, ending his call. For a PR consultant, we need to control the narrative before word gets out that Corey backed out. 20,000, my voice cracks. That's all I have left. It's an investment, Dad chimes in from his armchair, not looking up from his tablet. Your brother's reputation is everything in this industry. Before I can respond, Hugo's girlfriend Marley bursts through the front door, waving her phone. "Hugo, what's happening? The socials are blowing up with rumours about the app's testing data." Hugo's face goes pale. What rumours? That the user engagement numbers were inflated, that the beta testing feedback was cherry-picked. Marley's voice trembles. Tell me it's not true. Of course it's not true. Hugo laughs, but I catch the panic in his eyes. Someone's trying to sabotage us. This is exactly why we need that PR consultant. I watch Marley's face carefully. She's not buying it anymore. I need some air, she mumbles, heading for the bathroom. I follow her. I find her crying by the sink, mascara running down her cheeks. I've put everything into managing his social presence, she whispers. My whole career is tied to his success. Marley, I start, but my phone pings with a new email. The subject line freezes me in place. We should talk. I know what Hugo did with my money. Corey rose. Everything okay? Marley asks, noticing my expression. Yeah, I lie, quickly pocketing my phone. Just work stuff. Back in the living room, Hugo's pacing while Mum tries to calm him down. Sylvia will help with the PR costs, won't you, sweetie? Mum says. Family has to stick together in times like these. I think about Corey's email, about my nearly empty savings account, about the certification exam I passed last night. Actually, I say slowly, I need to think about it. The room goes silent. This isn't part of their script. Think about it. Hugo stalks toward me, while my company burns, while everything I've built crashes down. Everything you've built, I laugh, surprising myself. You mean everything I've paid for? Sylvia, Mum gasps. How dare you speak to your brother that way? I've got investors waiting, Hugo snarls. Real investors, not some minimum wage janitor playing at having opinions. Dad finally looks up. Sylvia, stop being difficult. Transfer the money to your brother, now. My phone buzzes again. Another email from Corey. Your brother showed me doctored user data. I have proof. Do you want to know more? Well, Hugo demands, are you going to help or not? I think about the encrypted folder on my laptop, about Nelson's job offer, about Marley crying in the bathroom. Give me until tomorrow, I say. I need to move some money around. Fine, Hugo spits. But I need it by noon. And Sylvia? His eyes narrow. Don't even think about saying no. You know what this family does to traitors. I head upstairs, my hands shaking as I type a response to Corey. Tomorrow, 9 a.m, the coffee shop on 4th, I'll be wearing a blue scarf. Another crash downstairs, Hugo's second tantrum of the day beginning. Mum's soothing voice floats up. Don't worry, honey. Sylvia will come through. She always does. My laptop screen glows in the dark room as I open my private email. A message from Nelson waits. Job offer still stands, but you'll need to act fast and be ready for fallout. I hear Marley's heels clicking across the floor below, the front door opening and closing. Through my window, I watch her sit in her car for a long moment before driving away. My phone lights up with a text from my cousin Bianca. Heard about the investor drama. You okay? I type back, not yet, but I will be. Opening my receipts folder, I start organising the evidence. Bank statements, emails, screenshots, everything that proves what Hugo's been doing with my money. Tomorrow I'll meet Corey. Tomorrow I'll hear his side of the story. Tomorrow I'll decide if I'm ready to light the match that burns everything down. My phone buzzes one last time. Mum, don't forget to transfer that money first thing tomorrow. Hugo's counting on you. Don't let your brother down. I silence my phone and keep working. They have no idea what tomorrow will bring. None of them do. The coffee shop is nearly empty at 9 a.m. Corey Rose sits in the furthest corner, looking nothing like the confident investor from Hugo's party. His expensive suit is wrinkled and dark circles shadow his eyes. You must be Sylvia, he says as I sit down. You look nothing like your brother. Thank God for small mercies, I reply, adjusting my blue scarf. He slides a folder across the table. Everything's here. Falsified user data, doctored financial reports, fake testimonials. Your brother's quite the creative writer. I open the folder, though I already know what I'll find. The same documents I discovered in Hugo's cloud storage, plus more, much more. He cost me $2 million, Corey says quietly. But it's not just about the money. He used my name and reputation to lure in other investors. Smaller fish, people who couldn't afford to lose their savings. My hands tighten around my coffee cup. How many? 12 that I know of, mostly retired folks looking to get into tech investment. Your brother can be very persuasive. Tell me about it. I pull out my laptop. Want to see something interesting? I show him my receipts folder. His eyes widen as he scrolls through the evidence of Hugo's spending. Luxury hotels, private jets, designer clothes, all funded by my multiple jobs. Jesus, he whispers, your own brother did this to you? With our parents' full support. I take back my laptop. They're planning to drain my savings account next, already have the paperwork ready. Corey leans back, studying me. So what's your plan? Hugo's throwing a victory party next month, announcing his successful funding round, hundreds of guests, press, potential investors. A victory party? After everything that's happened? I smile. He doesn't know that I know. None of them do. They think I'm still their compliant ATM. And you want to expose him at his own party? Corey's eyes light up with interest. I want to expose all of them, but I need your help. I slide him a piece of paper with details. Will you be there, ready to confirm everything? He reads the paper carefully. This could destroy your family. They destroyed themselves. I'm just providing the evidence. My phone buzzes, a text from Hugo. Where's my money? Need it now. They're getting desperate, I say, showing Corey the message. Count me in, he decides. But what about you? After this goes down, I've got that covered. I open my email, showing him the job offer from Nelson. Remote cybersecurity position, already accepted. I move out next week, but they don't know that either. Smart girl. He stands, straightening his suit. 1 month then, make it count. After he leaves, I head to the bank. Not our family's usual branch, they tell Mum immediately. Instead, I visit one across town, opening a new account under my own name. I'd like to discuss identity theft protection, I tell the banker, and ensure no one else can access these funds. Back home, Hugo's waiting by my car. Where's my money? He demands. I hand him a cheque. That's all I could get today, 10,000. He snatches it, not even saying thanks. Inside, I hear him announcing to our parents, PR team starts tomorrow. We're going to turn this whole thing around. I slip upstairs to my room, opening my laptop to find an email from Nelson. Apartment lease approved. Keys available next week. You're really doing this? No turning back now, I reply. Another email catches my eye, from Marley to Hugo, CC'd to the entire PR team. Something's not adding up in these numbers. We need to talk. I save it to my receipts folder, then start packing. Just essentials, enough to move out quietly when the time comes. My phone rings. Bianca. They're talking about having you sign some papers, she whispers. Something about consolidating family assets. Be careful, Sylvia. Thanks for the warning, I say, adding this information to my notes. A final email arrives from Corey. Just heard from another investor, Hugo scammed. She's willing to speak at the party too. This is getting bigger than we thought. I close my laptop as Mum calls me down for dinner. One last month of playing the dutiful daughter. One last month of watching them build their house of cards higher and higher. Then I'll show them exactly what their compliant little ATM has been up to. Through my window, I watch Hugo pull away in his luxury car, the one my night shifts paid for. He's heading to meet his PR team, no doubt spinning more tales about his brilliant success. Enjoy it while it lasts, big brother. The countdown to your victory party has begun. The Plaza Hotel? I stare at the invoice Mum's just handed me. You booked Hugo's victory party at the Plaza. Only the best for your brother's big night, Mum beams, completely missing my expression. The deposit's due today. Just put it on your card, sweetie. I glance at the amount, $25,000, more than I make in 4 months of combined wages. There's something else, Dad says, pulling out a stack of papers. Just some routine startup documents Hugo needs you to sign for the company restructuring. I take the papers, pretending to read them carefully, but I already know what they are. Bianca warned me. Transfer of assets forms, power of attorney, everything they need to drain my accounts completely. We'll need those signed before the party, Mum adds casually, for the big announcement. My phone buzzes, a text from Marley. Can we talk, privately? I'll review these tonight, I tell my parents, tucking the papers away, after my shift. Outside, Marley's waiting in her car. She looks terrible, like she hasn't slept in days. The numbers don't make sense, she says as soon as I get in. The user engagement data, the financial projections. I've been going through everything, and none of it adds up. Have you talked to Hugo about it? She laughs bitterly. He says I'm being paranoid, that I should focus on the party preparations instead. She turns to me, eyes desperate. What's really going on, Sylvia? Before I can answer, Hugo appears at the car window, making us both jump. There you are, he says too cheerfully. Mom says you have the papers. We need those signed ASAP. Just reviewing them, I say smoothly. What papers? Marley asks. Nothing important, Hugo cuts in quickly. Just boring legal stuff. Come on, we need to meet the event planner. I watch them drive away, then check my phone. 3 new messages. From Corey. 4 more investors want to speak out. This is going to be bigger than we thought. From Nelson. Your new apartment's ready whenever you are. Keys under the mat. From Bianca. They're planning something big for the party. Be careful. Inside, Mum's on the phone with the caterers, ordering champagne that costs more than my monthly rent. Dad's reviewing the guest list. Over 300 people, including tech journalists and potential investors. Oh, good, you're still here, Mum says, covering the phone. We need your card for the deposit. I hand it over, watching her recite the numbers. My nearly empty account. My worthless signature on those transfer papers they're so desperate for. By the way, she adds, I picked up your dress for the party. Something appropriate for once. You can pay me back next week. The dress hangs in the living room, a conservative blue number that probably cost another month's wages. Perfect for the dutiful daughter they want me to be. My phone buzzes again. A message from a journalist Hugo's been courting. Ms. Hamilton, regarding your brother's startup claims. I forward it to my secure email, adding it to the evidence file. Then I head upstairs to review the papers. In my room, I pull out my burner phone and dial Nelson. Everything's set, he says before I can speak. Your new office is waiting. Team's excited to meet you. 1 week, I remind him. After the party. You sure about this? Once it starts? I'm sure. I hang up as I hear Hugo coming up the stairs. He bursts into my room without knocking. Those papers signed yet? Almost done, I lie, just being thorough. Whatever, he snorts. Just don't screw this up. The party's going to change everything. You have no idea, I think, as he leaves. My laptop pings, an email from Hugo to a local tech blog. He's promising them an exclusive story about his revolutionary success. I save it to my receipts folder, right next to the real numbers. 1 more week of pretending. 1 more week of watching them plan their triumph. 1 more week of being their perfect, obedient daughter. Then I'll show them exactly what I've learned during all those night shifts and online classes. Mum calls up the stairs. Sylvia, the florist needs your card number. I take a deep breath, touching the flash drive hanging around my neck. Everything's on here. Every lie, every manipulation, every dollar they've stolen from me. Coming, Mom, I call back, the perfect daughter's smile sliding into place. The Plaza Hotel, huh? Well, if they want to go out with a bang, I'll give them a show they'll never forget. Let the countdown begin. The Plaza's ballroom sparkles with expensive lighting and false promises. I sip club soda at the bar, watching Hugo work the room like a conductor leading his final symphony. Another amazing success story, Mom gushes to a group of investors. We always knew Hugo was special. The whole family supported his vision. I catch Marley's eye across the room. She's wearing a forced smile, clutching her tablet like a shield. The latest social media metrics must be killing her. There's my favourite sister. Hugo appears beside me, draping an arm around my shoulders. He reeks of expensive cologne and desperation. Having fun? The time of my life, I say, touching the flash drive hidden beneath my blue dress. Those papers all signed? In my bag. I'll give them to Dad after your speech. He squeezes my shoulder too hard. Good girl. Always knew I could count on you. As he moves away to charm another group, Corey Rose enters the ballroom. Our eyes meet briefly. He nods once, then disappears into the crowd. Sylvia? Marley approaches, her voice low. Something weird is happening. These engagement numbers Hugo gave me to post, they're impossible. How impossible? Like, mathematically impossible, and I just saw 3 people I know weren't on the guest list. Really? I pretend to scan the room. Who? That investor who pulled out last month, and some angry-looking people in suits. Right on schedule. Maybe you should ask Hugo about it, I suggest. I tried. He told me to shut up and keep posting. Her hands shake slightly. Sylvia, what's going on? Really? Before I can answer, Mum swoops in. Sylvia, the caterers need your card again. Something about an extra champagne tower? Of course, I smile, handing over my card one last time. It doesn't matter now. The new account is safe, and this one's almost empty anyway. The lights dim. Hugo takes the stage, looking every inch the successful tech entrepreneur in his $1,000 suit. Dad beams from the front row, already recording on his phone. Ladies and gentlemen, Hugo begins, tonight we celebrate not just success, but family. Without my family's unwavering support, especially my sister Sylvia's incredible sacrifices. I check my phone. A message from Nelson. Ready when you are. Another from Corey. Everyone's in position. And so, it gives me great pleasure to announce our latest funding round of $50 million. The crowd applauds. Mum wipes away proud tears. But first, Hugo continues, I want to thank my sister properly. Sylvia, come up here. This wasn't part of the plan. I feel hundreds of eyes turn toward me. Come on, sis, don't be shy. Marley touches my arm. Something's wrong. Hugo looks different. She's right. There's a gleam in his eye I recognise from childhood, the look he got right before throwing me under the bus. I make my way to the stage, my heels clicking against marble floors. In my purse, the unsigned papers wait like a loaded gun. My sister, Hugo announces, pulling me close, has been the backbone of this company, and tonight she's agreed to make it official, to sign over her stake in our family's assets, fully committing to our shared vision. The crowd cheers. Mum and Dad beam. Marley frowns. Actually, I say into the microphone, my voice steady, I have a different announcement to make. Hugo's grip on my shoulder tightens. Sylvia. You see, my brother's right about one thing. I pull out my laptop from behind the podium where I'd stashed it earlier. I have been the backbone of this company. Let me show you exactly how. Don't, Hugo hisses, but I'm already connecting to the projector. Ladies and gentlemen, I say clearly, I'd like to share some interesting numbers with you. The first spreadsheet appears on the massive screen behind us. Hugo's real financial records, his actual user data. The truth about where every investor's money really went. Sylvia! Mum shrieks from the audience. Stop this immediately! And here, I continue, changing slides, are the receipts for every private jet, every luxury hotel, every expensive party, all paid for with my janitor's salary and waitress tips. The room erupts in murmurs. I spot Corey Rose moving toward the stage, followed by the other burned investors. Security! Hugo shouts, but no one moves. One more thing, I say, pulling out the transfer papers. These documents you wanted me to sign? I rip them in half. I quit. The ballroom explodes into chaos. Hugo lunges for the laptop, but I'm faster. The evidence is already streaming to every screen in the room. It's time for the real show to begin. Turn it off. Hugo lunges for the laptop, but I sidestep him easily. The evidence continues streaming across every screen in the ballroom. Bank statements, forged documents, damning emails, 3 years of receipts lighting up the night. Here's where my brother spent $2 million of Corey Rose's investment, I announce, clicking through slides. Private jets, luxury resorts, a yacht rental in Monaco, all while I worked night shifts scrubbing toilets to pay his bills. She's lying. Hugo grabs the microphone. This is a hack, a sabotage. Actually, Corey steps forward, everything she's showing is true. I have the original documents to prove it. The crowd erupts. Journalists frantically type on their phones. Investors surge forward, shouting questions. In the chaos, I spot Marley staring at the screens, her face ash white as she sees the fake social media numbers she'd been unknowingly posting. And here, I continue, my voice cutting through the noise, are the documents our parents prepared yesterday, their attempt to seize my remaining savings for their golden child's next scam. Mom pushes through the crowd, her perfectly made-up face twisted with rage. How dare you embarrass your brother like this, after everything we've done for you? Everything you've done for me, I laugh, pulling up more receipts. Let's talk about that. Here's where you used my credit card for this party. Here's where you drained my college fund for Hugo's first failed startup. Here's where... Enough! Dad's voice booms as he storms the stage. You ungrateful little... Mr. Hamilton! A stern voice cuts through. A woman in a sharp suit steps forward. I'm with the Securities and Exchange Commission. We'd like to ask your son some questions about these investment discrepancies. Hugo's face goes from red to white. This is all a misunderstanding. And I represent several of the private investors. Another man announces. We'll be filing charges for fraud. The ballroom dissolves into bedlam. Investors demand refunds. Journalists shout questions. The catering staff begins packing up, realizing they won't be getting paid. You've ruined everything, Hugo screams, grabbing my arm. You were supposed to support me. You were supposed to... Let go of her. Marley's voice cuts through his rant. She's holding her tablet like a weapon. The real numbers are already trending. It's over, Hugo. He releases me, staring at her in betrayal. Marley, baby, you don't understand. I understand perfectly. She pulls off her engagement ring and drops it at his feet. I quit too. Mum crumples into a chair, sobbing about family loyalty. Dad argues loudly with the SEC representative. Hugo stands frozen, watching his house of cards collapse. One more thing, I say, turning to address the crowd. To all the employees who haven't been paid, all the contractors waiting for invoices to clear, I've prepared a file for the Labour Board. You'll be hearing from them soon. You can't do this, Mum wails. We're your family. Not anymore. I pack up my laptop as hotel security arrives. By the way, I've accepted a position as a cybersecurity analyst, remote work. Don't try to find me. Corey approaches through the chaos. Nice work, though I think the SEC involvement was a surprise bonus. The best revenge plans leave room for improvisation. I smile, watching Hugo being escorted to a quiet room for questioning. Marley catches me at the door. I had no idea, she whispers, about any of it. I'm so sorry. Not your fault, but you might want to lawyer up the social media stuff. She nods grimly. Already on it. Good luck, Sylvia. As I walk toward the exit, Bianca appears. That was quite a show, cousin. You knew? I suspected. That's why I kept warning you. She hugs me quickly. Get out of here. I'll handle the family fallout. Outside, the night air feels clean and crisp. My phone buzzes with notifications. The story's already breaking on tech news sites. Hugo's empire is trending for all the wrong reasons. Another message pops up from Nelson. Saw the live stream. Your desk is ready whenever you are. Welcome to the team. Behind me, I hear Hugo's voice rising in panic as the SEC leads him through the lobby. Mum's sobs echo off marble floors. Dad argues with hotel security about the unpaid bill. My new apartment keys feel heavy in my pocket. Freedom has a weight to it, and a price. But as I slide into my car, watching the plaza's lights fade in my rearview mirror, I feel nothing but relief. Let them deal with the consequences of their actions. Let them face the truth they tried so hard to hide. I've got a new job to start and a whole life to reclaim. My new apartment's window overlooks a quiet street lined with maple trees. The morning sun streams in as I sip coffee and scan the latest tech news headlines. Tech startup founder faces federal charges in investment scandal. Family fraud, the Hamilton tech empire collapse. SEC investigation reveals pattern of deception. My phone buzzes, Marley calling. The plea deal's done, she says without preamble. Hugo's looking at 18 months minimum. They're calling me to testify next week. How are you holding up? Better, actually. Got a new job with a legitimate startup. They loved how I handled the PR crisis after everything. A notification pops up on my laptop. Another angry email from Mom, her third today. I delete it without reading. Your parents still trying to contact you? Marley asks. Daily. They've moved from threats to guilt trips. Dad's latest was about how I've destroyed the family name. The fraud charges did that, not you. My doorbell rings. It's a delivery, a small package from Bianca. Inside, I find a framed photo of us as kids, before Hugo's dreams consumed everything. There's a note. Some memories are worth keeping. Proud of you. My work computer chimes with an urgent message. Another company's security has been breached, their investors' data compromised. They need our team. Gotta go, I tell Marley. Actual work calls. Unlike the fake kind, she laughs. By the way, did you see Corey Rose's new investment fund? The one specifically for women in tech? I smile, remembering our conversation last week. He's asked me to help vet potential investments, looking for genuine innovation rather than smoke and mirrors. My phone buzzes again. Nelson, my boss now. Ready for the team meeting? We've got a situation. On my way. I open my video conference software, watching my colleagues' faces pop up one by one. Real people doing real work, no fake metrics or inflated promises. Morning, everyone, Nelson begins. We've got a potential fraud alert at... A chat message pops up from an unknown number. Miss Cleaning floors yet? Hugo. He must have gotten a phone in prison. I block the number and focus on Nelson's briefing. Let Hugo stew in his consequences. I've got actual problems to solve. Another message, this time from Bianca. Parents are selling the house. Too many bills, not enough Hugo money. Thought you should know. I close that too. Their financial problems aren't mine anymore. Sylvia? Nelson's voice cuts through my thoughts. Want to lead this investigation? Absolutely. I pull up my terminal, fingers flying over keys. This is what I was meant to do, protecting people from the kind of schemes my brother perfected. My personal email pings. A message from a women's tech mentorship program. They want me to speak about recognizing and escaping toxic workplace dynamics. Tell your story, they write. Help others find their way out. I think about all the nights I spent studying while my family thought I was working extra shifts. All the skills I built while they underestimated me. All the strength I found while they tried to break me. I'll do it, I reply. The morning sun catches my professional certification frames, hung proudly on my office wall. Below them sits a small plaque from our latest client. Thank you for protecting our investors. My work phone rings. Another potential case. Another chance to prevent someone else from being exploited. This is my victory party. Not with champagne towers and fake promises, but with honest work and real impact. A final message appears from Marley. Meeting some friends for dinner, real friends. Want to join? Count me in, I type back. My terminal blinks with the new case details. Time to dive in, to use everything I've learned, not just the technical skills, but the ability to spot lies, to follow money trails, to trust my instincts. The maple trees outside my window rustle in the breeze. My coffee's gone cold, but I don't mind. I've got work to do, friends to meet, a life to live. Let Hugo count his prison days. Let my parents mourn their broken dreams. Let the past stay where it belongs. I've got fraud to fight, people to protect, and a future that's finally, completely my own. Opening my terminal, I start typing. There are more stories like mine out there, more schemes to uncover, more truth to defend, and I'm just getting started.
The cream-colored envelope sat heavy in my hands. $5,000 tucked inside. Money I'd saved for nearly a year to give my sister the most extravagant wedding gift possible. What a joke that seems now, as I stand in my mother's pristine living room, trying not to cry while they discuss how to exclude me from the wedding photos. I'm Annabelle, and until 10 minutes ago, I thought I was going to be a bridesmaid in my sister's wedding. Now I'm just the family embarrassment they need to hide. It's really about the aesthetic, Laurel says, examining her manicure instead of looking at me. The dresses we chose, they just won't work with your frame. My mother nods in agreement, perched on her white leather sofa like some kind of fashion editor passing judgment. Darling, we're thinking of your comfort too. Those size 2 dresses from Vera Wang, it would be cruel to make you try to squeeze into one. The word squeeze hits like a slap. I dig my nails into my palms, feeling the envelope crinkle. So what exactly are you suggesting? Well, Laurel brightens, as if she's offering me a gift. You can still attend the ceremony, of course. Just maybe sit with the regular guests. And for the photos, we thought you could help coordinate the other guests during the photo session. My mother interrupts smoothly. Make sure everyone's where they need to be. My youngest sister Holly shifts uncomfortably in her armchair, staring at her phone. She won't meet my eyes. Let me get this straight, I say, my voice surprisingly steady. You want me to be the wedding photographer's assistant instead of being in the actual photos? With my own family? Don't be dramatic, Annabelle, my mother sighs. We're trying to be practical. The photos will be everywhere. Social media, the wedding website, the house. Right, I laugh, but it comes out hollow. Can't have the fat sister ruining the perfect family aesthetic. That's not what we... Laurel starts, but I cut her off. Yes, it is. Just say it. You're embarrassed by how I look. The silence that follows is answer enough. My mother adjusts her pearl necklace, her nervous tell since we were kids. Sweetheart, if you'd just tried harder with the diet plan I sent you... I have to go. I stand up, my legs shaking. Don't be like this, Laurel pleads. It's my special day. I just want everything to be perfect. Perfect. That word has haunted me my entire life. Perfect grades weren't enough. Perfect job wasn't enough. Because I never had the perfect body, the perfect face, the perfect presence they wanted. You know what? I pull out my phone, opening the camera. Smile, everyone. I want to remember this moment. Annabelle, don't... My mother starts. Click. The photo captures them perfectly. Laurel's annoyed eye roll, my mother's practiced mask of concern, Holly's obvious discomfort. Evidence of the moment my family officially decided I wasn't good enough to be seen with them. What are you doing? Laurel demands. Getting receipts, I say, tucking my phone away. Never know when they might come in handy. I look down at the envelope in my hands, the one I'd planned to present proudly at the wedding. All those extra shifts at work, all that overtime, saved up to show them how much I cared, how desperate I was for their approval. Without a word, I tear it open. The crisp hundreds flutter to the floor like confetti. What is that? My mother asks sharply. Your wedding gift, Laurel. $5,000. But you know what? I step over the scattered bills. I just thought of a much better investment. You're being childish, my mother calls after me as I head for the door. This behavior is exactly why... Why what? I spin around. Why you're ashamed of me. Why you've spent my entire life trying to fix me. Here's a crazy thought. Maybe I'm not the one who needs fixing. The door slams behind me with satisfying force. In my car, I finally let the tears fall, but they're not sad tears. They're angry ones, the kind that burn and fuel something deeper. My phone buzzes. A text from my best friend Darius. How'd it go with the family? I take a deep breath and type back. Remember that crazy idea you had about me trying modeling? The one I said I'd never be brave enough to do? His response is immediate. Girl, you know I've been waiting years to hear you say this. Come over. We're making your portfolio tonight. I start the car, my hands steady now. They wanted to make me invisible. But maybe it's time to be seen, really seen, for the first time in my life. And I know exactly how to make sure they won't be able to look away. You're insane, I tell Darius as he scrolls through plus-size modeling agencies on his laptop. This isn't going to work. Shut up and look at these, he says, turning the screen toward me. These women are gorgeous. And guess what? They're all your size or bigger. We're sprawled across his living room floor, surrounded by takeout containers and my phone that won't stop buzzing with messages from my family. I've ignored them all. Look at her. Darius points to a stunning woman in a swimsuit ad. She's making 6 figures a year. And this one? She just landed a contract with Target. That's different. They're confident, beautiful. And you're not. He closes the laptop and fixes me with that look, the one that means he's about to serve some hard truth. Tell me something. What's your first memory of feeling bad about your body? The question hits like a punch to the gut. I was 8, I say quietly. Mum took us shopping for Easter dresses. Laurel and Holly got to shop in the kids' section. I had to shop in the women's department. Mum kept saying, if you'd just put down the cookies. At 8 years old, Darius repeats, his voice hard. They were body-shaming you at 8 years old. My phone buzzes again. It's Holly. Mum's really upset. Please call her. I switch the phone off completely. You know what the worst part is? I grab another spring roll. I actually believed I was doing them a favor. Staying out of photos, wearing black to family events, standing in the back of group shots, like I owed them an apology for existing. Well, that ends today. Darius opens his laptop again. Because I just booked you a test shoot. You what? Tomorrow, 2 p.m, with Malachi Ross. I nearly choke on my spring roll. The lingerie photographer? Are you crazy? He's branching into plus-size fashion, and he needs portfolio shots. No pressure, no contracts, just test shots to see if you like it. Darius grins, unless you're scared. I'm terrified, I admit. But maybe that's good? It's perfect. He starts typing. Now let's look at some poses you can practice. The next morning, I stand in front of my mirror, trying to channel confidence I don't feel. My phone has 17 missed calls, mostly from my mother and Laurel. One text catches my eye, from 6 years ago. I'd saved it as a reminder. Honey, maybe you should skip the beach trip with your friends. Those kinds of photos aren't flattering for someone of your size. Love, Mom. I'd stayed home that weekend, deleted my Instagram, bought more black clothes. Never again. The studio is industrial chic, all exposed brick and huge windows. Malachi Ross looks nothing like I expected. Less fashion snob, more friendly artist, with paint-splattered jeans and kind eyes. Annabelle, he shakes my hand warmly. Darius told me your story. Ready to make some magic? I don't know how to pose, I stammer. Perfect. He grabs his camera. Means you don't have any bad habits to unlearn. Just be yourself. The first few shots are awkward. I'm stiff, self-conscious, watching the makeup artist touch up my face between shots. Tell me something that makes you angry, Malachi says suddenly. What? Anger. Real emotion. Give me that. Before I can stop myself, I blurt out, my sister's getting married in 3 months, and they don't want me in the photos because I'm too fat. Click. 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 Good. How does that make you feel? Furious. The word comes out like fire. I've spent my whole life trying to be smaller, to take up less space, to apologize for existing. Click, click. And now? I straighten up, feeling something shift inside me. Now I want to take up all the damn space I can. Yes! Malachi lowers his camera, grinning. That's it. That's the energy. Hold on to that. The rest of the shoot flows like magic. Every snap of the camera feels like breaking another chain. Every pose is a middle finger to every person who ever made me feel less than. After, Malachi shows me the shots on his computer. I barely recognize myself. Holy shit, I whisper. Right? He zooms in on one photo, me laughing, curves unapologetic, eyes fierce. This is gold! Mind if I send these to a few people? Who? Some brands I work with, including Lucy at Accept Lingerie. She's been looking for new faces. My heart stops. Accept is the biggest body-positive brand in the country. Their billboards are everywhere. Billboards. An idea starts forming. Something deliciously perfect. Something that would ensure my family couldn't look away even if they tried. Send them wherever you want, I tell him. I'm done being invisible. Take off your robe whenever you're ready, Malachi calls from behind his camera. Remember, you're in control here. I'm standing in a professional studio, wearing nothing but black lace lingerie and a silk robe. It's been 2 weeks since my test shoot, and Accept Lingerie moved faster than anyone expected. Now I'm here for my first real lingerie shoot, trying not to hyperventilate. You've got this, Lucy, Accept's CEO, says from her position near the monitors. She's exactly what you'd expect from a body positivity icon. Confident, sharp, and radiating authenticity. Just think about why you're doing this. Right? Why I'm doing this. I close my eyes and picture my mother's living room. The way Laurel couldn't even look at me while suggesting I hide during her wedding photos. The countless family pictures where I was positioned in the back, or worse, asked to take the photo instead of being in it. The robe hits the floor. Beautiful, Malachi says softly. Now tell me what you're thinking. I'm thinking about every time they made me feel ugly. The words come out stronger than I expect. Every time they told me to cover up, or stand in the back, or skip the beach trip, or... Click, click, click. Keep going. I'm thinking about my sister's wedding. How they're so worried about their precious aesthetic that they'd rather pretend I don't exist. Show me that anger, Malachi encourages, but make it powerful, not bitter. I shift my pose, remembering the confidence exercises Lucy taught me yesterday. Shoulders back, head high, own the space. They wanted me invisible, I say, looking directly into the camera. So I'm going to be everywhere. Yes! Lucy claps from the sidelines. That's the money shot right there! The next hour flows like a dream. Every click of the camera feels like reclaiming a piece of myself. Malachi keeps talking, drawing out more emotion, more truth. You've never done this before? He asks during a break, showing me some of the shots. Never. I stare at the photos in amazement. I've never even worn lingerie before. Mom always said girls like me should stick to practical underwear. Girls like you? Lucy raises an eyebrow. Fat girls, I say bluntly. Sorry, plus size. Don't apologize for the word fat, Lucy says. It's a descriptor, not an insult. They made it an insult to control us. Take it back. The afternoon continues, outfit after outfit. Black lace gives way to deep red silk, then emerald satin. With each change, I feel more comfortable in my skin. Last set, Malachi announces. The white bridal collection. I freeze. Bridal? Too soon? He asks gently. No. I square my shoulders. It's perfect. The white lingerie is stunning. Delicate lace and pearl details that would make any bride feel beautiful. As I pose, I think about Laurel in her size 2 Vera Wang dress, and something shifts inside me. You know what? I say to Malachi between shots. I actually feel sorry for them. Why's that? Because they're so trapped by what they think beauty should look like. They're missing out on so much joy trying to maintain this perfect image. Click, click, click. That's it, he says softly. That's the shot we've been waiting for. Later, looking at the final photos, I barely recognize myself. Not because of how I look, but because of how I feel looking at them. There's no shame, no apology in my eyes, just strength. We need to talk about the campaign rollout, Lucy says, pulling up a chair. These are going to be everywhere. Magazines, social media, billboards. Billboards. My heart races. Where exactly? We're thinking major cities, high traffic areas. Why? I pull out my phone and open the wedding invitation I'd been avoiding looking at. St. Margaret's Cathedral, downtown, right on Main Street. How much would it cost to get a specific billboard location? Lucy studies my face. You're thinking something deliciously petty, aren't you? The pettiest, she grins. Tell me more. I show her the church location on Google Maps. There's a massive billboard directly across the street, currently advertising luxury watches. The wedding's in 8 weeks, I say. Is that enough time? Lucy's smile turns wicked. Oh, honey, for this level of poetic justice, I'll make it happen in 6. Malachi looks between us, then at the bridal shots on his screen. You're going to put these up across from her wedding venue, aren't you? Not just any shots, I say, pointing to one specific photo, me in white lace, looking directly at the camera with years of pent-up defiance. This one, the bride collection. Let's see them try to keep me out of the wedding photos when I'm 50 feet tall across the street. You know this will burn bridges, Lucy warns. I think about that torn-up envelope of cash, about years of subtle cruelty masked as concern, about a lifetime of being told to make myself smaller. Some bridges need to burn, I say, and I'm done hiding in the shadows. My phone lights up with another group text from my family. They've been planning Laurel's bridal shower, acting like nothing happened, like they didn't just cut me out of the wedding party. I've been ignoring their messages for weeks, but this one catches my eye. Mom, has anyone heard from Annabelle? She hasn't RSVP'd for the shower. Laurel, probably too busy feeling sorry for herself. Holly, maybe someone should check on her. Mom, I tried calling. She's being childish about the whole thing. Laurel, she's just jealous because she can't handle not being the center of attention for once. I screenshot the conversation, adding it to my growing collection of evidence. Darius calls it my revenge receipts. My phone buzzes again. This time it's Lucy. Billboard contract signed. Installation date confirmed. 6 a.m. on wedding day. You ready for this? Before I can respond, another family message pops up. Mum, I'm worried about her. This isn't healthy behavior. Maybe we should suggest therapy. Laurel, she's probably just depressed about her weight again. Remember when she tried that crash diet last year? Holly, guys, she might see these messages. Mom, don't be silly, she left the group chat weeks ago. Except I didn't. I've been silently watching their true colors bleed through every message. I text Lucy back. More ready than ever. The doorbell rings. It's my mother, holding a gift bag with tissue paper spilling out the top. I consider not answering, but curiosity wins. Darling, she breezes past me into my apartment. We've been so worried. You've been avoiding everyone's calls. I've been busy, I say, which isn't a lie. Between modeling shoots and campaign meetings, my schedule's been packed. Too busy for your sister's bridal shower. She sets the bag down. I brought you something, a peace offering. Inside the bag is a dress, black, shapeless, clearly designed to hide every curve. My mother beams like she's done me a favor. Size 16, she says proudly. The saleswoman assured me it's very slimming. Mom, I'm a size 14. Oh. Her smile falters. Well, better too big than too small, right? You can always have it taken in if you lose. I'm not going to the shower. Don't be ridiculous. Of course you are. Family supports family. I laugh. Since when? Annabelle. She sighs, that familiar, disappointed sigh. I know you're hurt about the wedding photos, but we were trying to be kind. Sometimes love means protecting people from embarrassment. Protecting who, exactly? She doesn't answer. Instead, she walks around my apartment, picking things up and putting them down with slight grimaces. She pauses at a framed photo on my bookshelf, me and Darius at his birthday party last month. I'm wearing a red dress that shows every curve. You posted this on Facebook, she says quietly. Aunt Margaret called me about it. Was she clutching her pearls when she did? This isn't you, Annabelle. These attention-seeking outfits. This rebellious attitude. What happened to my sweet, sensible girl? She grew up. Realized she deserved better than being your family's dirty secret. Mom's face hardens. We have never treated you like a secret. We've only ever wanted what's best for you. Do you think I enjoy seeing my daughter throw herself at cameras, flaunting her condition? My condition? I step closer. You mean my body? The one you've been trying to shame into submission since I was 8 years old? I won't have this conversation if you're going to be dramatic. She grabs her purse. The shower is next Saturday at noon. Wear the dress I brought. Show everyone you can be mature about this. After she leaves, I text the family group chat. Can't make the shower. Have a work commitment that day. Send Laurel my love. Within seconds, my phone explodes. Laurel. Work? Since when do you work weekends? Mom. After I just brought you a new dress? This is completely unacceptable. Holly. What kind of work thing? I smile, thinking about the photo shoot scheduled for that exact time. My first major magazine cover. Instead of responding, I open Instagram and post the photo my mother was so offended by. Me in the red dress, laughing, comfortable in my skin. The caption reads, "Big things coming soon. Watch this space." Darius comments immediately, "Girl, they have no idea what's about to hit them." My phone buzzes one more time. A private message from Holly. I saw the modeling photos Malachi posted on his portfolio. You look beautiful. Really beautiful. I wish I was brave enough to stand up to them like you're doing. I stare at her message for a long time before responding. It's not too late to be brave, Holly. The view's pretty amazing from the other side of fear. Then I block my mother's number, delete the family group chat, and start planning my outfit for the magazine shoot. Something red, I think. Something impossible to ignore. You're really not coming to the wedding? Holly asks, curled up on her couch with a glass of wine. It's 3 days before the big day, and I've finally agreed to meet her at her apartment. Would you, if you were me? She takes a long sip. No, but I'm not as strong as you. Strong? I laugh. Holly, I'm about to get revenge via billboard. That's not strength, that's nuclear-level pettiness. At least you're doing something. She sets down her glass. I just exist. Following Mom's rules, wearing Mom's approved outfits, dating Mom's approved men. I study my younger sister, always the quiet one, the peacekeeper, the one who never rocked the boat. You know you don't have to live like that, right? Easy for you to say. You're successful, independent. I saw your magazine cover yesterday at the grocery store. And Mom? She turned it face down, then bought every copy so no one else would see it. I burst out laughing. She what? Spent like $200 on magazines just to hide them. Laurel was furious, said you were trying to steal attention from her wedding week. Of course she did. I pull out my phone. Want to see what's really going to make her furious? Holly's eyes widen as I show her the billboard mock-up. Oh my God, is that... Across from the church? Yup. In bridal lingerie? The very same collection Laurel rejected for her own wedding night because, and I quote, "they don't make sexy things in that size." Holly covers her mouth, but I catch the smile. They're going to lose their minds. That's the plan. Can I ask you something? She leans forward. Are you doing this for revenge, or for yourself? The question catches me off guard. Both, I think. Maybe it started as revenge, but now... I gesture to my phone, open to my growing social media following. I'm getting messages from women every day. Women who've been made to feel invisible by their own families. Who are finding their voice because I found mine. Like me? Our eyes meet. There's something different in Holly's expression. A spark I've never seen before. You know what Mum said to me yesterday? Holly continues. She said thank God at least one of her daughters turned out right. Can you believe that? Like you're some kind of failure because you don't hate yourself anymore. And how did that make you feel? Angry! Holly stands up suddenly, pacing. So angry! Because you're not the failure. They are. They failed you. They're failing me. Did you know Mum's already talking about finding me a reputable personal trainer? Says I've gotten soft since college. I watch my baby sister's hands shake as she pours more wine. Holly, I have an eating disorder, she blurts out. Have. I don't know, since high school. Mom called it portion control, but it wasn't. It was killing me. The room goes silent, except for Holly's ragged breathing. Why didn't you tell me? I ask softly. Because you were the strong one, the one who didn't care what they thought. I didn't want you to know I was weak. Come here. I pull her into a hug. That's not weakness. Surviving them? That's strength. She pulls back, wiping her eyes. I don't want to be in the wedding photos either. What? I don't want to stand there pretending we're this perfect family. Not after everything they've done to you, to us. Holly, no. This is my fight. Is it? She grabs her phone, opens Instagram. Maybe I want to be seen too. Before I can stop her, she's typing. I watch in shock as she posts a photo of us together, right now, wine glasses raised. Her caption makes my heart stop. To my sister, my hero. Can't wait to see you shine on Saturday. Sometimes the best view isn't from inside the church. Holly! I grab her phone. Mum's going to... Let her. Holly's voice is steady. I'm done being the good daughter. Done watching them hurt you. Done hurting myself to make them happy. My phone buzzes. Laurel calling. Then Mom. Then unknown numbers as Holly's post starts circulating through family circles. They're going to cut you out too, I warn. Good. Holly raises her glass. I'd rather stand with you anyway, even if it's across the street. I hug my sister again, feeling something heal between us. You know what this means, right? What? You're going to need something amazing to wear on Saturday, something Mom would hate. Holly grins. Got anything in red? It's up. Darius texts at 6:15 a.m. Get down here, now. I'm already awake, have been since 4, watching the billboard installation crew from my car, parked a block away from the church. Holly's beside me, both of us clutching enormous coffees, wearing matching red dresses that would give our mother an aneurysm. Ready? I ask her. Born ready. We walk toward the church, just as the morning sun hits the billboard perfectly. My breath catches. Seeing yourself 50 feet tall is surreal enough, but this is something else. The photo Lucy chose is stunning. Me in white lace, looking directly at the camera with years of defiance in my eyes. The tagline reads, "Everybody deserves to be celebrated." Holy shit, Holly whispers. You look incredible. A car screeches to a halt in the middle of the street. It's Laurel, still in her pre-wedding salon robe, face mask half peeled off. What the hell? She screams, jumping out. What is this? This? I gesture up. This is what being seen looks like. Take it down. She storms over, heels clicking. Take it down right now. Can't. Contract's ironclad. It stays up for 6 weeks. 6? She chokes. My wedding photos, the church steps photos. Everyone will see. You'll ruin everything. Like you tried to ruin me. I step closer. For years? You're being dramatic. We were trying to help. By erasing me? By making me feel worthless? Another car pulls up. My mother's Mercedes. She steps out slowly, staring up at the billboard with her hand over her heart, like she's about to faint. What have you done? She whispers. Created a masterpiece, Darius calls out, approaching with his phone recording. Which has, by the way, already gone viral. Billboard bride is trending. Mom's face goes from pale to red. You planned this. You vindictive, attention-seeking, successful model? I interrupt. Face of a national campaign? Woman who finally stopped letting you dictate her worth? Holly, Mom snaps, finally noticing her youngest daughter. Get in the car. We need to get to the church. No. Holly steps closer to me. Excuse me? I said no. I'm standing with Annabelle. Cars are slowing down now, people taking photos. The first wedding guests are arriving, pointing and whispering. Laurel looks like she's about to explode. You've ruined my wedding, she shrieks. My perfect day. Perfect? Holly laughs. Like how you perfectly excluded your own sister? Like how you perfectly made her feel worthless her entire life? Holly, Mum gasps. That's enough. No, it's not enough. Holly's voice rises. I've watched you torture her for years. Torture me. All for your precious image. Well, how's this for an image, Mom? She grabs my hand and poses, taking a selfie with the billboard behind us. Posts it immediately with the caption, Sorry, not sorry. Billboard bride. Real beauty. Laurel's makeup artist runs out of the church, phone in hand. Laurel, you're trending. Everyone's talking about the billboard bride across from your venue. This can't be happening, Laurel moans. Oh, but it is. I smile sweetly. And the best part? You did this to yourself. All you had to do was treat me like a human being, like family. Instead, you made me invisible, so I made myself impossible to ignore. Mom steps forward, voice low and dangerous. If you ever want to be part of this family again, save it, I cut her off. I don't negotiate with emotional terrorists anymore. More guests are arriving. Phones are out everywhere. The wedding photographer looks like Christmas came early, snapping shots of the scene. Laurel! Neil, her fiancé, comes running out. What's going on? Why is everyone... He stops, sees the billboard. Whoa! Annabelle? That's actually really amazing. Neil! Laurel shrieks. Don't compliment her. But it's too late. The damage is done. Guests are gathering, pointing, taking photos. The whispers are getting louder. Someone mentions body shaming. Someone else mentions family drama. My phone buzzes. Lucy texting. You're everywhere. News outlets picking up the story. Want to do an interview? You've always wanted attention, Mom spits. Well, congratulations. You've got it. No, Mom. I take Holly's hand. I never wanted attention. I wanted respect, acceptance, love. You couldn't give me that, so I gave it to myself. And now? I gesture to the growing crowd, the phones, the billboard gleaming in the morning sun. Now, everyone can see exactly what you tried to hide. The bride's sister, someone whispers loudly. They wouldn't let her be in the wedding because of her size. Laurel bursts into tears, running back to her car. Mum follows, calling for Holly, who doesn't move. Ready for breakfast? I ask my sister. I know a great place with a perfect view of the church. Holly grins. Lead the way, billboard bride. We walk away together, leaving chaos in our wake, matching red dresses bright against the morning sky. Read it, Darius demands, shoving his tablet across our breakfast table. We're sitting at the cafe across from the church, watching the wedding chaos unfold through the window. The headline reads, Billboard Bride, How One Woman's Revenge Against Body-Shaming Family Sparked a Movement. You're trending on every platform, he continues, scrolling through his phone. The video of your confrontation with your mum has 2 million views already. Lucy's phone is exploding with interview requests. Holly leans over to read the comments. My family did the same thing to me at my sister's wedding. This is the revenge story we needed. Billboard Bride is my hero. My phone hasn't stopped buzzing since we sat down. Texts from distant relatives, old friends, strangers. But one message stands out. From Neil's cousin Amanda. Just watched your sister have a meltdown because the priest mentioned your billboard was a sign from God about judgment. This is the best wedding I've ever attended. They're starting the ceremony, Holly notes, watching guests file into the church. Should we feel bad? Before I can answer, Lucy calls. Tell me you're free tomorrow, she says without greeting. Good Morning America wants you live in studio. Then Ellen's people called. And The View. This is bigger than we imagined. How big? Accept's website crashed from traffic. We've sold out of every size 14 and up in the bridal collection. People are calling you the body-positive bride. I watch another wedding guest stop to take a selfie with my billboard. What about Laurel's lawyers? Let them try, Lucy scoffs. The publicity would only make this bigger. Besides, we have documentation of everything. The texts, the exclusion, their body shaming. They'd be crucified in the media. My phone pings. A news alert. Someone's leaked the group chat screenshots where my family discussed excluding me. The comments are brutal. What kind of mother treats her child like this? Bride of the year? More like Bridezilla of the century. Anyone else hoping the groom runs? Holly shows me her phone. Mum's trying to damage control on Facebook. Deeply saddened by my daughter's attention-seeking behavior on what should be a joyous family occasion. Some people will do anything for fame. The comments beneath are not what she expected. Maybe try apologizing to your daughter instead of shaming her more. My mother was just like you. Haven't spoken to her in 10 years. Congratulations. You just made your daughter a body positivity icon. Incoming, Darius warns, nodding toward the door. Neil's mother, Barbara, bursts into the cafe, looking frazzled. Thank God I found you, she says, sliding into our booth. It's a disaster in there. Laurel's refusing to walk down the aisle until they move the ceremony to a different church. Your mother's having vapors in the bride's room. And half the guests are outside taking photos with your billboard instead of finding their seats. Not my problem, I shrug. Actually, Barbara leans forward. I think you're exactly what this family needed. Been wanting to say something about their treatment of you for years. Never had the courage. My phone buzzes again. Malachi this time. Just got off the phone with Vogue. They want to do a feature. The Revolution of the Billboard Bride. You in? Holly reads the message over my shoulder and squeals. Holy shit, Vogue! Barbara stands up. I should get back. Neil's asking about you both, by the way. Says the bride's side is looking pretty empty without his future sisters-in-law. Former sisters-in-law, I correct her. We'll see. She smiles mysteriously. Neil's always been more sensible than your sister. Speaking of which... She pulls out her phone, poses for a selfie with my billboard in the background. This is going straight to my Christmas card list. After she leaves, Darius starts laughing. Your mom's going to lose it when she sees her in-law posted that. Speaking of posting, Holly pulls up Instagram. Want to make one final statement? I think for a moment, then start typing. To everyone asking about Shaka Billboard Bride. Yes, my family tried to hide me from their perfect wedding photos, so I made sure they'd never forget what they were ashamed of. But this isn't just about revenge anymore. It's about every person who's been told to make themselves smaller, to hide, to be ashamed. We deserve to be seen. All of us. And I'm just getting started. Add this, Holly says, snapping a photo of us in our red dresses, coffee cups raised to the billboard across the street. In the background, wedding guests are still taking photos, the church doors wide open, chaos visible inside. I post it all, adding one final line. To my sister the bride. I may not be in your wedding photos, but I guarantee no one will ever look at them without thinking of me. Within seconds, the likes start pouring in. Comments flood. Shares explode. Well, Darius grins, raising his coffee cup. I think it's safe to say you're not invisible anymore. Through the window, we watch as more guests abandon the church entrance to take photos with the billboard. Someone started a hashtag, @TeamBillboardBride. To being seen, Holly toasts. To being unforgettable, I reply. Ready? Lucy squeezes my hand backstage at the Accept fashion show. I'm about to close the show in their new bridal collection, the one that sold out within hours of my billboard debut. Born ready, I say, but my hands are shaking. My phone buzzes. A text from Neil. Laurels hate watching your live stream. Thought you should know. Another buzz. Holly. Front row. Mum's going to flip when she sees the surprise finale. The wedding feels like a lifetime ago, though it's only been weeks. The photos eventually came out. Stiff, forced smiles. Half the guests missing from the ceremony shots because they were outside with my billboard. The marriage lasted exactly 6 days before Neil filed for annulment, citing irreconcilable differences after Laurel tried to sue me. 5 minutes, the stage manager calls. Malachi appears, camera ready. The Vogue team's in position. You know what to do. I check my reflection one last time. The wedding gown I'm wearing isn't white. It's a deep, powerful red. The same shade I wore to crash my sister's wedding. The same color that's become my signature. They're ready for the announcement, Lucy says, heading toward the stage. I peek through the curtain. The audience is packed. Fashion editors, influencers, celebrities. Holly's in the front row with Darius, both wearing red. Barbara's there too, Neil beside her. Even some of my extended family showed up, the ones who chose sides after the billboard went viral. Lucy takes the microphone. Today marks a new chapter for Accept. We're launching not just a collection, but a movement. The Billboard Bride showed us that everybody deserves to be celebrated. That's why we're proud to announce our new foundation, the Visibility Project. The crowd applauds. My cue is coming. This foundation, Lucy continues, will provide support for individuals affected by family body shaming and appearance-based discrimination. And leading our initiative, the curtain rises, the lights hit me, the crowd gasps. Please welcome our new body positivity director, Annabelle. I walk the runway like I own it, because I do. Every step is for the 8-year-old girl forced to shop in the women's section. Every turn is for the teenager who wasn't allowed in family photos. Every pose is for the woman who finally learned to take up space. Halfway down the runway, I stop, pull out a remote, click. The screens behind me light up with images. The billboard, the wedding chaos, the viral moments. But then, new photos, hundreds of them. Women of all sizes in wedding dresses, posed in front of my billboard. The hashtag, Billboard Bride Tribe, floods the screens. These are your stories, I say into the microphone they've handed me. Every person who was told they weren't good enough. Every body that was asked to hide. This is for you. The crowd erupts. Holly's crying. Darius is filming everything. And for those wondering about my family, I lock eyes with Neil, who nods encouragingly. My mother sent me a text this morning. Want to hear it? The audience leans forward. I pull out my phone. Saw your Vogue cover. You look happy. I'm sorry it took a billboard for me to see you. Really see you. Mom, I haven't responded yet, I tell the crowd. Because sometimes sorry isn't enough. Sometimes you have to rebuild from the ground up. Sometimes the family you choose is stronger than the family you're born into. I gesture to Holly, to Darius, to Lucy, and Malachi. These people saw me when others wanted me invisible. They taught me that taking up space isn't just okay, it's necessary. The music swells. I resume my walk, but instead of turning at the end of the runway, I step down, walk to Holly, take her hand. Come on, I whisper. Your turn to be seen. She hesitates only a second before joining me. We walk the runway together, two sisters who chose each other over toxicity. The crowd goes wild. My phone buzzes again. Laurel, I hate that you're happy. I hate that you're successful. I hate that you ruined my wedding. But most of all, I hate that you were right. I show Holly the text. She grins. Want to know what true happiness looks like? She grabs my hand, poses us at the end of the runway. The cameras flash. The crowd cheers. And in that moment, I'm not the billboard bride or the body positivity director or the girl who crashed her sister's wedding. I'm just Annabelle. Finally, completely, unapologetically seen. Ready for the finale? Lucy calls from backstage. I look at Holly, at our matching red dresses, at the army of diverse models lining up behind us in every shade of red imaginable. Let's show them what taking up space really looks like, I say. The music builds, the lights brighten, and we own every single inch of that runway, not despite who we are, but because of it. Some bridges need to burn for new ones to rise from the ashes, and sometimes the view from the other side is better than anything you could have imagined. The call came during my lunch break, right as I was reviewing the projections for my biggest client's portfolio. Mom's number flashing on my screen never meant good news. It meant Gunnar needed something. Again. I'm Phoebe, and I've spent 34 years being the responsible one, the reliable one, the one who's supposed to drop everything when golden boy baby brother screws up, which, as my ringing phone suggested, was exactly what was happening. Phoebe, honey, we need you to come over tonight. It's an emergency. Mom's voice had that familiar tremor, the one that meant she was about to ask for money. What did he do this time? Don't be like that. Your brother, he's in a difficult situation. We're having dinner at 6. You need to be here. I glanced at my calendar, at the fertility clinic consultation I'd scheduled for that evening. The appointment I'd waited 3 months for. Mom, I have plans. Cancel them. This is family. Click. The fertility clinic was understanding about the last-minute cancellation. They only charged me half the consultation fee. Another $250 down the drain because of Gunnar. I added it to my mental tally. Walking into my parents' house that evening felt like stepping into a funeral. Mum's eyes were red-rimmed. Dad sat in his recliner, staring at nothing. And there was Gunnar, slumped at the dining room table, looking appropriately devastated. Hey sis, his voice cracked, always the performer. What's the damage? I asked, setting my purse down. Mom burst into tears. He owes $60,000. The number hit me like a physical blow. To who? Some guys, Gunnar mumbled, from poker nights, online stuff too. They're not exactly legitimate businessmen. You mean loan sharks? I sat down heavily. Jesus Christ, Gunnar. Language, Mom snapped, then immediately softened her tone. Honey, we know it's a lot to ask, but you're the only one who can help. You're so successful with your financial work. And your brother, he's trying so hard to find his path. I looked at Gunnar, still in his designer clothes, his expensive watch glinting. That watch could cover at least $5,000. It was a gift from Riley, he protested. Your savings, Dad finally spoke. You've always been good with money. Family helps family. My savings are for IVF, I said quietly. I've been planning this for years. Mom waved her hand dismissively. You can always save up again. Your brother's life could be in danger. Gunnar lifted his head, tears streaming down his face. I'm so sorry, Phoebe. I messed up. I know I messed up. But these guys, they're serious. They showed up at my work yesterday. I watched him cry, remembering all the times before. The college tuition I'd helped with, the down payment for his first apartment, the temporary loans that were never repaid. Each time he'd cried just like this. Each time I'd given in. Okay, I said finally. I'll help. The relief in the room was palpable. Mom rushed to hug me. Dad smiled, and Gunnar wiped his eyes. But, I continued, this time we're doing it my way. What do you mean? Mom's arms loosened around me. I pulled out my phone and dialed. Hey, Kendra, remember that contract we discussed? Draw it up. I'll be there first thing tomorrow. Contract? Gunnar's voice had lost its tremor. What contract? I stood up, gathering my things. If I'm giving you $60,000, we're making it official, legal, binding. That's ridiculous, Mom protested. We're family. Exactly, and family should have no problem putting things in writing. I headed for the door, then turned back. Oh, and Gunnar, make sure that Mustang of yours is running well. You'll need it. My car? What does my car have to do with anything? I smiled, and for the first time in years, I felt something other than resignation. You'll find out tomorrow. After all, every loan needs collateral. The look of uncertainty that flashed across his face was worth every penny I was about to lend him. As I walked to my car, I could hear Mom's voice rising in protest. But for once, I didn't turn back. I had a lawyer to meet, and a contract to draft. Family helps family, they always said. But this time, help would come with terms and conditions. This is insane, Gunnar said, staring at the contract spread across Kendra's polished conference table. You can't be serious. Every word is serious, I replied, sliding him a pen. $60,000, 3 months to repay, the Mustang as collateral. It's just a car, Mom interjected from her seat beside him. She hadn't been invited, but showed up anyway. Phoebe, you're being dramatic. Kendra, my best friend and now lawyer, cleared her throat. Mrs. Hanson, this is a standard loan agreement. Given the amount involved, collateral is more than reasonable. But we're family! Mom's voice rose an octave, which is exactly why everything should be clear and documented. I kept my voice level. Sign it, Gunnar, or find the money somewhere else. He laughed, but it was hollow. Where else am I supposed to get it? You know these guys won't wait. Then sign. His hand shook slightly as he picked up the pen. I watched him skim the document, his eyes widening at certain parts. 3 months isn't very long. Neither is my patience, I said. You make 6 figures at your job. 3 months is generous. But with my other expenses, like your Vegas trips, I cut in. Your new gaming setup, that collection of limited edition sneakers. Mom stood up, her chair scraping against the floor. You're being cruel, Phoebe. Your brother is in trouble, and you're treating him like a criminal. No, Kendra interrupted. She's treating him like an adult borrower, which is exactly what he is. I closed my eyes briefly, remembering the day 5 years ago when Gunnar had called about his first apartment. I'd been about to put a down payment on my own place, but his voice had been desperate. Just until I get my bonus, he'd promised. That money never came back to me. 2 years later, it was his student loans threatening to default, another chunk of my savings gone. Then his emergency appendectomy bills, because he'd let his insurance lapse. Each time, I'd given without conditions. Each time, I'd pushed my own dreams further away. "Sign it," I said again, opening my eyes. "Or walk away." Gunnar looked at Mom, then back at me. Slowly, he began signing each page. When he reached the final signature line, he paused. "You wouldn't really take my car." "Try me." He signed. Kendra notarized the document efficiently, making copies for everyone. "Congratulations," she said dryly. "You now have a legally binding loan agreement." "I can't believe you're doing this to your own brother," Mom said, gathering her designer purse. "What happened to you, Phoebe? You used to be such a sweet girl." "I grew up," I replied. "Maybe it's time Gunnar did too." After they left, Kendra poured us each a glass of wine. "You okay?" "They think I'm bluffing," I said, taking a long sip. "They all think this is just me being dramatic." "Their mistake." Kendra raised her glass. "To consequences." Later that night, my phone buzzed with a text from Mum. "Your father and I are very disappointed in your behavior today. This legal nonsense is embarrassing the whole family. What will people think?" I typed back. "They'll think Gunnar finally has to face responsibility for his actions." The response came quickly. "You're being vindictive. He's your brother. He needs support, not judgment." I set my phone down without responding and walked to my home office. Opening my filing cabinet, I pulled out a folder labeled Future. Inside were brochures from fertility clinics, information about IVF procedures, and a carefully crafted financial plan. Years of work and saving, all potentially derailed because my brother couldn't stay away from poker tables. My phone buzzed again. This time it was Gunnar. "Hey sis, about that 3-month deadline. Any chance we could make it 6? Just to be safe?" I replied with a single word. "No." Then I blocked both his and Mom's numbers for the night. I needed sleep, and tomorrow I had an early meeting with a new client. Unlike some people, I had a reputation for reliability to maintain. As I got ready for bed, I caught my reflection in the bathroom mirror. Mum was right about one thing. I had changed. The sweet, accommodating girl who would do anything for family peace was gone. In her place stood someone who finally understood that real love didn't require constant sacrifice. The contract wasn't just about money. It was about breaking a pattern that had defined my entire adult life. For once, Gunnar would face real consequences for his actions. And if that made me the bad guy in their eyes, so be it. I slept better that night than I had in years. Sunday family dinner was a tradition I usually dreaded. But today, I was actually looking forward to it. 2 weeks had passed since the contract signing, and I was curious to see how Gunnar was handling his financial restructuring. I shouldn't have gotten my hopes up. "Check this out," Gunnar was saying as I walked in, waving his phone at our parents. "Top-of-the-line gaming PC, curved monitor, the works. Got an amazing deal." Mom beamed. "That's wonderful, honey. You deserve something nice after all that stress." I set my contribution to dinner, a store-bought pie, on the counter with deliberate care. Interesting purchase choice, given your current situation. "Oh, don't start," Mom said, stirring something on the stove. "He got a great price." "Any price is too high when you owe $60,000. I poured myself a generous glass of wine, plus interest. Gunnar's girlfriend Riley appeared from the living room, her face tight with worry. She pulled him aside, whispering urgently. I caught fragments. Sean called again. And, getting impatient. My phone buzzed. Kendra's text read, "Heads up. Someone tried to file a backdated payment confirmation for your brother's loan. Amateur hour forgery. Want me to look into it?" "Please do," I typed back. Dad wandered in, newspaper in hand. Everything okay? You look tense, Phoebe. Just wondering about priorities, I said loudly enough for Gunnar to hear. Like buying gaming equipment instead of paying debts. I've got it handled, Gunnar snapped. Stop monitoring my spending like some psycho hall monitor. Riley touched his arm. Maybe we should go. No, Mom interrupted. Everyone sit down. I made pot roast, Gunnar's favorite. Let's have a nice family dinner. We sat. We ate. The tension was thick enough to cut with the fancy serving knife Mom only used for Sunday dinners. Every time Gunnar opened his mouth, it was to brag about something new he'd bought or was planning to buy. Each time, Mom and Dad nodded approvingly while I took another sip of wine. My phone rang. Unknown number. I stepped outside to answer it. This Phoebe? A man's voice, rough and unfamiliar. Who's asking? Friend of your brother's. Name's Sean. Heard you're helping him with some financial issues. My hand tightened on the phone. That's between me and my brother. See, that's where you're wrong. Your brother made promises to me first. That car of his? Already promised as collateral. Months ago. Not legally. He laughed, but there was no humor in it. You think I care about legal? Tell your brother he's got 2 weeks. And tell him that fancy car better stay exactly where it is. The line went dead. I stood there, processing. So Gunnar had tried to use the Mustang as collateral twice. Typical. Back inside, Riley was leaving in a hurry, mascara smudged. Gunnar watched her go with an expression I couldn't read. Everything okay? I asked innocently. Mind your own business, he muttered. After dinner, I drove past Gunnar's apartment complex. The Mustang wasn't in its usual spot. I circled the block twice before finding it, hidden behind the building near the dumpsters. My phone buzzed again. Kendra. Found out who tried to forge the payment docs. IP address traces back to your brother's home network. Want to press charges? Not yet, I replied. Let's wait. Another text came through, this one from Riley. We need to talk, not at your parents' house. It's important. I thought about Sean's call, about the hidden Mustang, about Riley's tearful exit. All the pieces were there, forming a picture of desperation. Gunnar was scrambling, and scrambling people make mistakes. I drove home, making a mental note to call Desmond, the repo man Kendra had recommended, just to put him on standby. 2 more months remained on the loan term, but something told me we wouldn't make it that long. That night, I dreamed of the day Gunnar got the Mustang. Dad had helped him restore it, spending countless weekends working on it together. I'd asked once if Dad would help me learn about cars too. This is more of a father-son thing, he'd said, not even looking up from the engine. I woke up to another text from Riley. Please, it's getting dangerous. Tomorrow, I wrote back. Coffee shop on 5th, 8 a.m. Whatever she had to say, I had a feeling it would justify every precaution I'd taken with that contract. Gunnar wasn't just playing games anymore. He was playing with fire. And this time, I wouldn't be the one getting burned. The deadline arrived with the same silent treatment I'd been getting for weeks. No payment, no explanation, not even a request for extension. Just radio silence from Gunnar. I gave him a week of grace, sending 1 text each day. Payment due. Need to discuss options. Call me. Last chance before consequences. Gunnar? Really doing this? Your choice? Nothing. On day 8, I called Desmond. His voice was gruff but professional. Got the paperwork ready? All legal and notarized, I said, fingers tracing the contract on my desk. He's had multiple warnings. Sunday dinner, you said? Yes, 6 p.m. sharp. Mom's very particular about timing. I'll be there at 6:15. Give everyone time to settle in. I hung up and opened my email to find a message from Kendra with urgent in the subject line. Attached were scanned documents. crude attempts at forged payment receipts, all traced back to Gunner's IP address. 3 different versions, each more desperate than the last. Want to add fraud charges? Kendra asked in her message. Hold that card, I replied. Let's see how Sunday plays out. My phone lit up with Mom's number. I let it ring 4 times before answering. Phoebe, darling. Her voice dripped honey. About Sunday dinner. I'll be there. Oh, good. It's just, Gunner mentioned you two had some sort of disagreement about money. I laughed. Did he tell you the deadline passed? That he hasn't paid a cent? Well, times are tight for everyone. Your father and I thought maybe we could discuss a more reasonable arrangement, as a family. The arrangement was reasonable. The contract was clear. Sunday will be interesting. What does that mean? Her voice sharpened. It means I'm bringing dessert. Apple pie, okay? I hung up before she could respond and called Riley. She answered on the first ring. Is it happening? She asked. Sunday. You should stay away. Trust me, I will. He's been different. Scary different. I thought about our coffee shop meeting, how Riley's hands shook as she described Gunner's late-night calls to shady contacts, his explosive anger, the mounting pressure from Sean and his crew. He tried to forge payment documents, I told her. Jesus, add it to the list. Yesterday he tried to sell the Mustang to some guy on Facebook. Good thing you filed that lien. A text came through from Desmond. Need the car's exact location. I forwarded him the tracking device data I'd had installed during the Grace Week. The Mustang was at a strip mall across town. Another hiding attempt. Won't matter, Desmond texted back. Got the warrant. GPS coordinates. Sunday's gonna be fun. The rest of the week crawled by. I kept my routines, client meetings, gym sessions, evening calls with Kendra to review the legal framework one last time. Everything had to be perfect. Saturday night, Mum tried again. Please, honey, can't we discuss this privately? Before tomorrow? Nothing to discuss. Contract was clear. He's your brother. Exactly, and brothers should keep their word. Sunday morning, I woke up early and drove past Gunner's apartment. The Mustang was back in its usual spot, probably part of some plan to make everything look normal for dinner. I spent the afternoon preparing myself, choosing a simple black dress and comfortable shoes. This would be a performance after all. Might as well dress the part. At 5:55 p.m., I pulled into my parents' driveway. Mum's pot roast smell wafted from the kitchen. Dad's football game blared from the living room. Gunner's Mustang gleamed in the evening light, freshly washed. I checked my phone one last time. Desmond, 20 minutes out. Kendra, documents ready? Police on standby if needed. Riley, good luck. Stay safe. Inside, Gunner was holding court, telling some story about a work presentation. He faltered slightly when he saw me, but recovered quickly. Hey sis, want to hear about this deal I just landed? I set my purse down and smiled. Sure, tell me everything about your financial successes. Mom shot me a warning look. Dad suddenly became very interested in his mashed potatoes. Actually, Gunner said, his voice tight, maybe we should talk about our little arrangement. I checked my watch. 6:12 p.m. Let's talk, I said, sitting down. You have about 3 minutes to make this very interesting. The sound of a heavy diesel engine rumbled in the distance. Right on schedule. The diesel engine grew louder. Gunner's face went from confident to concerned in the space of a heartbeat. What's that sound? He asked. I took a slow sip of wine. Karma, arriving right on schedule. Mom stood up to peer out the window. Her gasp could have shattered crystal. There's a tow truck pulling up. Phoebe, what have you done? Nothing yet. I set my glass down carefully. Gunner did this to himself. The doorbell rang. Nobody moved. I'll get it, I said, standing up. Since this is my show. Desmond filled the doorframe, clipboard in hand. professional, efficient. Behind him, neighbors were already gathering on their porches to watch the drama unfold. "Evening, ma'am. Here for the vehicle repossession." "You can't do this!" Gunnar shot up from his chair, face red. "That's my car!" "Actually," I said, taking the clipboard from Desmond, "it's collateral for an unpaid debt, as clearly stated in the contract you signed." Dad finally spoke up. "Phoebe, please, we can work something out." The time for working things out was 3 months ago, or last week, or yesterday. I turned to Desmond. "The car's right there. Keys should be on the hook by the door." Gunnar lunged for the key hook, but I was faster. Years of being the responsible one had taught me to anticipate his moves. "Give them to me," he shouted. "Or what?" I met his eyes. "You'll forge more documents? Try to sell a car that legally can't be sold? Call Sean again?" Mom gasped. "Who's Sean?" "Just one of the many people Gunnar tried to scam." I handed the keys to Desmond, along with his own sister. "You vindictive bitch," Gunnar spat. "You've been planning this all along." "No," I said calmly. "I gave you every chance. 3 months of chances. 7 extra days of chances. All you had to do was pay back the money you borrowed. Instead, you bought gaming equipment, went to Vegas, tried to hide the car, tried to forge payments." "I'm calling the police," Mom announced, reaching for her phone. "Go ahead," I said. "The repo order is legal. The contract is legal. Everything is documented, witnessed, and notarized. Or would you rather explain to them about Gunnar's gambling debts, his fraud attempts, his deals with Sean?" The room went silent except for the sound of Desmond hooking up the Mustang outside. "You don't understand what you're doing," Mom tried again, tears streaming. "This car, it's special. Your father and brother restored it together. I remember." I turned to Dad. "Just like I remember asking to help, being told it was a father-son thing. Well, guess what? Now it's a legal thing." "You're destroying this family," Mom sobbed. Something inside me snapped. "I'm destroying the family? Me? Where was this concern for family when you drained my college fund for Gunnar's gambling debts? When you guilted me into giving up my house down payment for his temporary emergency? When you dismissed my IVF plans because precious Gunnar needed another bailout?" "That was different," Mom protested weakly. "You're right. It was different. Because back then, I was stupid enough to believe family meant something. That sacrifice went both ways. That someday, someone would put me first." The sound of chains clinking outside punctuated my words. "But you know what I learned? Family isn't about enabling destruction. It's not about one person always giving while others take. And it's definitely not about protecting someone from the consequences of their own choices." Gunnar charged toward the door. I stepped aside, letting him run out to where Desmond was finishing up with the Mustang. "You can't take my car! I'll sue!" "With what lawyer?" I asked, following him out. "With what money?" The neighbors weren't even pretending not to watch anymore. Some had their phones out, recording. "Vehicles secured," Desmond announced. "Sign here to confirm the repossession." I signed with a steady hand while Gunnar screamed obscenities and Mom cried on the front porch. Dad just stood there, silent as always. The Mustang looked beautiful in the evening light as it was towed away. Years of memories, of unequal treatment, of forced sacrifices, rolling down the street on the back of a flatbed. "This isn't over," Gunnar threatened, his voice low and dangerous. "You're right," I agreed, gathering my purse. "It's just the beginning. Ask Sean about the documentation I have on your other deals. Ask Riley about the recordings she kept. Ask yourself why you thought you'd never face consequences." I walked to my car, head high, leaving chaos in my wake. Behind me, I heard Mom wail about her ruined Sunday dinner. For once, I didn't feel guilty at all. The emails started flooding in the next morning. Mom had been busy, crafting a detailed narrative about my mental breakdown and sending it to every relative we had. Aunt Susan called to tell me I needed Jesus. Cousin Rachel suggested therapy. Uncle Mike just sent a disappointed face emoji. I forwarded each message to a special folder labeled Flying Monkeys and went about my day. "You holding up okay?" Kendra asked over lunch. "Better than expected." I picked at my salad. Though Mom's smear campaign is impressive. Apparently, I'm now a money-obsessed sociopath who's jealous of her brother's success. Success at what? Professional gambling? My phone buzzed. Riley's name flashed on the screen. "Hey," I answered. "Everything okay?" "No." Her voice was shaky. "Gunner's been drinking since yesterday. He told Sean you stole the car, said you forced him to sign papers. Sean's really angry." "Let him be angry. Everything was legal." "Legal doesn't matter to guys like Sean." Riley's voice cracked. "Look, I'm leaving town for a while. You should be careful too." After she hung up, Kendra leaned forward. "Want me to file for a restraining order?" "Not yet. Let's see." A shadow fell across our table. I looked up to find a man in an expensive suit standing there, his smile sharp as a razor. "Mind if I join you, ladies?" Without waiting for an answer, he sat down. Everything about him radiated controlled menace. "Sean, I presume?" I kept my voice steady. "Smart girl." He adjusted his cufflinks. "Your brother's been telling interesting stories about you." "I'm sure he has." I met his gaze. "But we both know Gunner's stories aren't always truthful." "True." Sean's smile didn't waver. "Like when he promised me that pretty Mustang as collateral. Imagine my surprise when I learned someone else had a legal claim to it." Kendra started to speak, but I touched her arm. "I have all the documentation. The lien, the contract, the attempted fraud evidence. Would you like to see?" "Already did my homework." He leaned back. "You're thorough. I respect that. But this puts me in an awkward position. Your brother still owes me money. That's between you and him." "Is it?" His voice hardened. "Because taking my collateral makes it feel like my business is your business now." I pulled out my phone, opened a file, and slid it across the table. "These are screenshots of every conversation Gunner had about your operation. Dates, names, dollar amounts. Riley was very helpful." The smile vanished from Sean's face. "I'm not threatening you," I continued. "I'm explaining why it's in everyone's best interest to keep this professional. You lost the Mustang because Gunner lied. Take it up with him." Sean studied me for a long moment, then stood up. "Interesting family dynamic you've got. Tell Riley I said hi when she comes out of hiding." After he left, Kendra let out a breath. "Okay, we're definitely filing that restraining order now." Back at my apartment, I found 3 voicemails from Mum, each more hysterical than the last. The final one caught my attention. "Your father's not eating. He's so upset about the car. All those memories just gone. I hope you're happy with yourself." I deleted them all and poured a glass of wine. The sun was setting, casting long shadows across my living room. In the quiet, I could finally process the weight of what I'd done. My phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. The car was just the beginning. "Sleep tight, sis." I forwarded it to Kendra, then called the police to file a report. The officer sounded bored as he took down the details. "Family disputes are complicated," he said, "but keep documenting everything." Later that night, my doorbell rang. I checked the camera. It was Dad, alone. "Can I come in?" he asked when I opened the door. I stepped aside. He looked older than I'd ever seen him. "Your mother doesn't know I'm here," he said, sitting heavily on my couch. She's not handling this well." "And how are you handling it?" He stared at his hands. "I kept all the receipts. From the car restoration. Every part we bought. Every tool. Gunner, he didn't pay for any of it. I did. Even when he promised to split the costs. Why are you telling me this? Because you were right. About everything. And I'm sorry I never said anything before. I didn't respond. Years of silence couldn't be fixed with one late-night confession. Be careful, he said, standing to leave. Your brother. He's not the person we pretended he was. After he left, I double-checked my locks and security system. Tomorrow, I'd call about upgrading everything. Tonight, I just needed to breathe. The war wasn't over. But at least now everyone knew which side they were on. The pounding on my door started at 2 a.m., 3 weeks after the Mustang incident. I didn't need to check the camera to know who it was. Open up, Phoebe. Gunner's voice was slurred, desperate. We need to talk. I pressed the intercom button. Leave, or I'm calling the police. Call them! I don't care anymore! Something crashed against my door. You ruined everything. My car, my job, my life. I already had 911 dialed, finger hovering over the call button. Riley left me. Did you know that? She's not answering my calls. Sean's guys are following me. I had to quit my job because everyone saw the video of the repo. It's all over social media. Your choices led to this, I said firmly. Not me. Choices? He laughed, bitter and broken. Like you chose to be such a perfect daughter? Always saving, always planning, always judging me. Another crash. I hit the call button. You think you're better than me? At least I know how to live? What do you have? An empty apartment and a bunch of money you're wasting on trying to have a baby by yourself? My hand tightened on the intercom. The police are on their way. Good, let them come. I'll tell them how you set me up, how you forced me to sign that contract, how you... He cut off suddenly. Through the door camera, I watched him stumble backward, hands raised. 2 police officers approached, flashlights drawn. Sir, step away from the door. That's my sister in there! Gunner's voice cracked. She stole my car. She ruined my life. Sir, we have a restraining order on file. You need to come with us. I watched through the peephole as they cuffed him, as he alternated between crying and threatening me. Only when their car pulled away did I sink to the floor, shaking. My phone lit up with texts. Mom, Gunner just got arrested. How could you? Dad, are you safe? Kendra, police called. I'm coming over. Riley, is he gone? I answered only Kendra and Riley. Some bridges needed to stay burned. Morning brought a different kind of surprise. An envelope taped to my door, my name written in Riley's familiar scrawl. Inside was an ultrasound photo and a note. I'm 8 weeks along. Hadn't told him yet. Now I never will. Thought you should know you're going to be an aunt. I'm moving back home to Portland. Don't tell him where I've gone. I sat at my kitchen table, staring at the grainy image while waiting for Kendra to arrive. My brother's child? My niece or nephew? Another piece of collateral damage in this mess. We need to talk about pressing charges, Kendra said when she arrived, eyeing the new dents in my door. Last night crossed a line. He's facing other charges anyway. Drunk and disorderly. Violating the restraining order. That's not enough. She pulled out her laptop. Look at this. She showed me security footage from my building's garage. Gunner, clearly intoxicated, slashing my car tires 2 hours before his dramatic doorstep performance. He's escalating, she said quietly. This isn't just about the Mustang anymore. Was it ever? I picked up the ultrasound photo. Riley's pregnant. Kendra's eyes widened. Does he know? No, she's leaving town. I handed her the note. She's scared of him. Everyone is. Including you. I thought about it. No, I'm not scared. I'm just tired. My phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. A photo of me through my apartment window, clearly taken from the building across the street. Below it, a message. Sean says hello. Kendra read it over my shoulder and immediately started typing on her laptop. That's it. We're getting you out of here. My firm has a corporate apartment downtown. Doorman, security, the works. I can't hide forever. No, but you can be smart. Let the police handle Gunner. Let me handle the legal side. You focus on staying safe and... She gestured at the fertility clinic brochures still on my counter. Living your life. I packed a bag while Kendra made calls. As we left, another text came through, this time from Dad. Found Gunner's journals in the garage. Things he wrote, plans he made. You're right to be careful. I should have seen it sooner. I'm sorry. In the elevator, Kendra squeezed my hand. You know what the hardest part of revenge is? What? Knowing when to stop, when to let karma take over. I looked at the ultrasound photo one more time before tucking it away. Karma had already started its work. Now I just had to survive the fallout. The fertility clinic waiting room was quiet, except for the gentle hum of the air conditioning. I scrolled through my emails, pausing at one from Riley with a new ultrasound photo attached. She was having a girl. Ms. Phoebe, the nurse called. Dr. Andrews is ready for you. As I stood, my phone buzzed with a news alert. I nearly dropped it when I saw the headline, Local man arrested in multi-state gambling ring. Below was Gunner's mugshot, alongside Sean's. Everything okay? The nurse asked. Better than okay, I replied, following her to the consultation room. Dr. Andrews greeted me with a warm smile. I've reviewed your financial documentation. The IVF funding is all in order. We can start the process whenever you're ready. The Mustang sold quickly, I said. Classic cars have quite a market. Speaking of which, she slid a newspaper across her desk. Isn't this your brother? I skimmed the article. The FBI had been watching Sean's operation for months. Gunner's desperate attempts to save himself had apparently involved wearing a wire, trying to cut a deal. But he'd played both sides too long, and now everyone was going down. My phone lit up with a text from Kendra. Turn on the news. Now. Excuse me, I said to Dr. Andrews. Could we? She turned on the small TV in her office. The local news showed police leading people out of an office building. The reporter's voice was clear and professional. Among those arrested was Margaret Hanson, charged with helping launder money through her charity organization. Her husband, Frank Hanson, is cooperating with authorities. I switched off the TV. My hands weren't shaking anymore. Should we reschedule? Dr. Andrews asked gently. No. I sat straighter. My family's drama doesn't control my life anymore. Let's talk about next steps. Later, leaving the clinic with my treatment schedule in hand, I found Dad waiting by my car. How did you know I'd be here? Kendra told me. He looked exhausted. I'm testifying against your mother and brother tomorrow. The FBI found evidence going back years. The charity, the gambling. It was all connected. Did you know? Not everything. Enough to feel guilty. Not enough to stop it. He pulled a leather-bound journal from his jacket. I want you to have this. I've been writing in it since you kids were young. I opened it randomly. Phoebe got straight A's again. Gunner failed math. Margaret says I'm too hard on him, too proud of her. Maybe she's right. Maybe I'm ruining him with expectations he can't meet. There's more, Dad said quietly. About the car, the money, everything I saw but never stopped. I was a coward. Why give this to me now? Because you were strong enough to do what I couldn't. Set boundaries, demand accountability, risk being the villain in their story to do what's right. Police sirens wailed in the distance. More arrests, probably. Riley's having a girl, I said. I know. She called me last week. Wants me to be part of the baby's life, but only if I promise to keep Gunner away. He smiled sadly. First grandchild, and this is how it happens. My phone buzzed. A text from Mom's number. How dare you let this happen to your family, after everything we've done for you? I deleted it without responding. I have an appointment next month, I said, showing Dad the IVF schedule. To try for my own baby. Alone? Independent, I corrected. There's a difference. He nodded slowly. Your mother used to say, family helps family, but she meant family serves family, serves her. I see that now. Better late than never. Would you let me know how the treatments go? I studied him, this man who'd failed me so many times, but was finally choosing differently. You can start by buying me coffee, I said. I have a lot of paperwork to review. As we walked to the cafe across the street, my phone lit up one last time. A message from Riley. Found out today she's definitely a girl. Thinking of naming her Phoebe. Hope that's okay. Strong names make strong women. I smiled, tucking the phone away. The autumn air was crisp, full of possibilities. Somewhere across town, my brother and mother were learning about consequences. Somewhere in Portland, my niece was growing, already named for strength, and here, in this moment, I was exactly where I needed to be. Not running, not hiding, not sacrificing, just living, on my own terms. Dad held the cafe door open. Ready? Yes, I said. I think I finally am.
The first thing I noticed when I woke up in the hospital was the silence. No beeping monitors, no squeaking wheels, no chattering nurses. Just the hollow echo of my own breathing and the weight of knowing something was terribly wrong. My name is Paris, and I've spent the last 12 years learning that family isn't always what it's supposed to be. But nothing could have prepared me for what my brother did while I was lying in that hospital bed. You're lucky to be alive, the doctor had told me earlier that morning. The hit and run did significant damage. We're looking at weeks of recovery. I nodded, already thinking about Monica, my 12-year-old daughter, staying with my best friend Eloise while I healed. The silence broke when Eloise burst into my room, her face flushed and hands trembling. Paris, I'm so sorry. I tried to stop him, but... Stop who? What happened? Is Monica okay? Monica's fine. She's with Natasha at physical therapy. It's the van. Josh sold it. My mind went blank. What van? Your accessible van, the one Monica uses. Your brother came with some paperwork while you were unconscious. He said you'd authorized the sale. The world tilted sideways. The accessible van was our lifeline, custom fitted for Monica's wheelchair, modified for her independence. We'd bought it with Robert's life insurance money after he passed. That's impossible, I whispered. He can't. I tried calling your parents, Eloise continued, gripping my hand. They said they knew about it. My fingers shook as I reached for my phone. Mom answered on the third ring. Paris, are you calling about the van? Josh said he talked to you about it. Mom, I'm in the hospital. How could I have talked to him about anything? Don't be dramatic. Monica barely leaves the house anyway. Josh needed the money for an investment opportunity, and you weren't using it. The familiar ice in her voice froze my veins. Monica has therapy 3 times a week. She has school, doctor's appointments. How is she supposed to... You always make everything so difficult, Mom sighed. Josh is trying to help the family. He said he'd share the profits once the crypto takes off. I hung up before she could say more. Memories flooded back, Josh borrowing my college fund, Josh convincing our parents to remortgage their house for his failed restaurant, Josh always taking while they smiled and enabled him. My phone buzzed. Josh. Hey, sis, he drawled. Feeling better? Where's the van? Sold it to some guy in Milwaukee. Got a great price too. Don't worry, I'll cut you in when the crypto moons. This is huge, Paris, like retirement level, huge. You had no right. He laughed. Actually laughed. Come on, you're being ridiculous. Monica can use regular transportation like everyone else. Stop being so precious about everything. It was modified specifically for her condition. Yeah, and those modifications cost way too much. Look, I did you a favor. You need to learn to let go sometimes. The line went dead. I stared at the phone, my hands shaking with rage and helplessness. But underneath the fury, something else stirred, something cold and calculating that had been waiting for this moment. Because what my brother didn't know, what my parents never bothered to learn, was that I'd spent years preparing for something like this. Every account protected, every asset secured, every document carefully filed away. Robert's death had taught me that security isn't just about locks and alarms. It's about being ready when the people you're supposed to trust show their true colours. My phone lit up again. A text from Monica. "Mum, when are you coming home? The new driver doesn't know how to secure my chair properly." I closed my eyes, fighting back tears. My sweet, brave girl trying so hard to adapt while her own family betrayed her. But they'd made a crucial mistake. They thought my hospital stay had left me powerless. They were about to learn how wrong they were. I opened my banking app and clicked the alert button I'd set up years ago. Within seconds, a notification appeared. Unusual deposit detected. Account flagged for review. Josh's crypto dreams were about to crash and burn, and that would only be the beginning. The hospital room felt smaller with each passing hour. I watched Monica through our video chat, my heart breaking as she tried to sound cheerful about missing her art class because the new transport service had cancelled last minute. "It's okay, Mom. I can catch up next week," she said, adjusting her glasses. But I saw the shadow cross her face, the slight tremor in her voice. "Baby, I need to tell you something about the van." "I know," she interrupted softly. "Uncle Josh sold it. I heard Grandma talking about it on the phone." Of course she knew. Monica had always been too perceptive for her own good, just like she'd known something was wrong the day Robert died, hours before we got the call about the accident. "I'm so sorry, sweetheart. I should have... Don't apologize, Mom. It's not your fault." She paused, then added, "Grandma said we were being selfish about the van anyway, that normal families don't need special vehicles." The familiar rage bubbled up. I remembered all the times they'd dismissed Monica's needs, the birthday parties at inaccessible venues, the family vacations planned without considering her wheelchair, the constant refrain of "you're babying her too much" whenever I spoke up. My phone buzzed with a text from Eloise. Josh just tried to withdraw $50,000 from his account. Bank flagged it as suspicious. He's throwing a fit at the downtown branch. I smiled despite myself. The pieces were falling into place. "Monica, honey, I need to make some calls. I'll video chat you again before bedtime, okay?" "Okay, Mom?" Her voice wavered. "Are you going to fight with them again?" "No, baby. This time I'm going to win." After hanging up, I called Jacob, my lawyer. He answered immediately. "Paris, I've been expecting your call. Eloise filled me in about the van. What are my options?" "Well, your brother committed fraud by selling property he had no legal right to. I've already started the paperwork to freeze his assets and trace the sale. But there's something else you should know." I held my breath. The money he got from the van, he tried to use it as collateral for a massive loan. When that got flagged, he attempted to move it through your parents' accounts. I laughed bitterly. "Let me guess, they helped him?" "They tried, but remember those protections we put in place after Robert died? They're working exactly as intended." After Robert's death, I'd learned the hard way about financial vulnerability. Josh had tried to contest the will, claiming I wasn't stable enough to manage Robert's estate. That's when I'd met Jacob and started building my safety net. My phone lit up with another call. Josh again. I let it go to voicemail. "Your brother's getting desperate," Jacob continued. "He's made 3 attempts to access different accounts in the last hour. Each attempt triggers another red flag." "Good. What's next?" "We wait. The bank's fraud department is already investigating. Once they connect the dots between the van sale and these suspicious transactions..." My phone buzzed again. A text from Mom. Josh said you're causing problems at the bank. Why can't you ever think about anyone but yourself? I showed the message to the nurse who was checking my vitals. She shook her head in disbelief. Family can be worse than the accident that put you here, she said quietly. Another notification popped up, an email from Monica's physical therapist, Natasha. Documentation of transportation difficulties affecting therapy schedule attached. Let me know if you need anything else for the legal proceedings. I'd forgotten I'd asked her to document everything. Sweet, thorough Natasha, building my case without even knowing it. My phone rang again. Josh's wife this time. I answered. Paris, what the hell is going on? Josh can't access any of his accounts. That's strange, I replied calmly. Maybe he should check with the crypto exchange he was so excited about. This isn't funny, we have bills to pay. So did we, but Josh sold our van anyway. She went quiet for a moment. He said you agreed to it. I was unconscious in a hospital bed. Oh, another pause. Oh, God. After she hung up, I closed my eyes and thought about Monica's question. Was I going to fight with them again? No. Fighting implied a fair contest, an equal exchange. This wasn't going to be a fight. My phone pinged with another alert. Large withdrawal attempt declined. Account suspended pending investigation. I smiled. This was going to be a reckoning. The day after Robert's funeral, Josh showed up at my house with a stack of papers and a sympathetic smile that didn't reach his eyes. You're grieving, he'd said. Let me handle the estate. You've got enough on your plate with Monica. I remember staring at him across my kitchen table, thinking about all the times he'd handled things for our family. The investment schemes, the failed businesses, the mysterious expenses that always seemed to drain joint accounts dry. No, I'd said simply. That's when I'd met Jacob, young, sharp-eyed and surprisingly fierce for a corporate lawyer. He'd taken one look at my situation and understood exactly what I needed. Now, 3 years later, I was watching those preparations pay off from my hospital bed as Jacob walked me through the latest developments. The van buyer is cooperating, he said, spreading documents across my bedside table. He's willing to return it once we proved the sale was fraudulent. But that's not the interesting part. What is? The money trail. Your brother tried to hide it, but he's not as clever as he thinks. Want to know where the van money really went? I nodded. Gambling debts. Not crypto at all. He's been bleeding money for months. My phone buzzed. A text from Eloise. Josh just left the house in a rage. Your parents called me demanding answers about the accounts. They're starting to panic, Jacob observed. Want to turn up the heat? I thought about Monica's face during our video chat, trying so hard to be brave. Do it. Jacob made a call, speaking in quiet legal terms I'd learned to understand over the years. When he hung up, he was smiling. The bank's fraud department has officially launched an investigation. They'll be contacting his employer by end of day. Right on cue, my phone rang. Mom, again, I put it on speaker. What have you done? She demanded. Josh said his accounts are frozen. Interesting. Has he told you why? He said you're being spiteful about the van. He was trying to help the family by committing fraud. It wasn't fraud. He had paperwork. Forged paperwork, Mum. While I was unconscious, would you like to explain that to the bank investigators? She went quiet for a moment. When she spoke again, her voice was different, smaller, uncertain. You don't understand. He needed the money for an investment. Gambling debts, I corrected. Ask him about the casino receipts. The line went dead. My phone lit up with another notification, an email from Josh's company HR department, responding to an anonymous tip about financial misconduct. I forwarded it to Jacob. Perfect timing, he said. I just finished filing the civil suit paperwork. Once his employer sees that... A knock at my door interrupted us. Natasha, Monica's physical therapist, entered with a thick folder. I brought everything, she said. Therapy schedules, transportation logs, documentation of missed appointments since the van was sold. And, she hesitated, Monica asked me to give you this. She handed me a drawing, Monica's art therapy project. It showed our family as stick figures, with Josh and my parents on one side of a deep crack in the ground, Monica and me on the other. Above it, she'd written, "Sometimes broken things can't be fixed." My throat tightened. "Thank you, Natasha." After she left, Jacob reviewed the documentation. "This is excellent. Shows clear impact on a minor's medical care. The judge will..." My phone buzzed again. A text from a family friend. "Did you know Josh is hosting a celebration dinner tonight? Something about early retirement." I showed Jacob the message. He raised an eyebrow. "Celebrating a bit early, isn't he?" "Not for long." I opened my banking app and initiated the final protocol we'd set up years ago. A complete trace and freeze on all connected accounts. "You sure about this?" Jacob asked once we pull this trigger. "He sold my daughter's independence for gambling money," I said quietly, "while I was in a hospital bed, and my parents defended him." Jacob nodded and made the call. Within minutes, my phone started buzzing continuously. Texts, calls, notifications. The system was working exactly as designed. "Paris," Jacob's voice was gentle, "there's no going back from this. Your family..." They stopped being family the moment they decided Monica's needs were inconvenient. I looked at her drawing again. Sometimes broken things can't be fixed, but they can be replaced with something stronger. My phone lit up with one final notification. Multiple accounts frozen pending criminal investigation. The storm was about to break, and I was ready. The chaos started at exactly 9:47 a.m. I know because I was watching the clock when Josh's first panicked call came through to my hospital room. "What the hell is happening?" His voice cracked with desperation. "I can't access anything." "Really? How inconvenient for you. Almost like having your transportation sold without permission." "This isn't funny, Paris. I have meetings with investors today." "Gambling debts aren't investments, Josh." The line went silent for a moment. When he spoke again, his voice was low, dangerous. "What do you know about that?" "Everything. The casino receipts, the loans, the forged paperwork. Would you like me to continue?" "You little bit..." "Careful," I interrupted. "Everything you say is being recorded for the investigation." He hung up. 3 minutes later, my parents called. "Your brother is at our house crying," Mum said. "Fix this immediately." "Fix what?" "The fraud he committed, the theft, the lying." "He made a mistake," Dad chimed in. "We're family. We're supposed to forgive. Like you forgave me when I needed help with Monica's medical bills. Or when Josh contested Robert's will." "That was different," Mom snapped. "Josh was trying to protect the family money. From what? A disabled child?" "Don't twist our words," Dad shouted. "You've always been so dramatic, so what? So unwilling to let Josh steal from me, so protective of my daughter. You're betraying your family." Mum was crying now. "After everything we've done for you." I laughed. A cold, hard sound that surprised even me. That wasn't my betrayal. It was my protection. After hanging up, I texted Eloise. "How's Monica?" "Safe at my house. Your brother just drove by looking angry. I called the police." My hands shook as I dialed Jacob. "Already on it," he said before I could speak. "Filed a restraining order 10 minutes ago. Police are aware." Another call came in, Josh's wife again. "The bank called his office," she said quietly. "They're launching a formal investigation." "I know." "Paris, the things they're saying he did are all true." She started crying. "He said it was just a bad investment, that he could fix it. He said that about the restaurant too, and the tech startup, and the real estate scheme." "What am I supposed to do?" "Get a good lawyer," I advised, "and separate your accounts while you still can." The next call came from Josh's office, his supervisor sounding stiff and formal. "Mrs. May, we need to verify some information about certain financial transactions. I directed them to Jacob. Within an hour, Josh was suspended pending investigation. My phone buzzed with a text from Monica. Uncle Josh just called Grandma. She's crying really loud. Are you okay, Mom? I'm fine, baby. Stay with Eloise. I know what you're doing, she replied. I'm not mad. Tears pricked my eyes. My brilliant, perceptive daughter, understanding more than she should have to. A nurse came in to check my vitals. Your blood pressure's up, she noted. Need me to restrict visitors? No, they won't come here. They never do when things get difficult. She patted my hand. Family troubles. Justice troubles. My phone lit up again, a detective this time. Mum, we're looking into reports of fraudulent asset transfer and harassment. Do you have documentation of the original van ownership? My lawyer will send everything. And the suspect, your brother, he's been to your property. Ask my friend Eloise. She has security footage. After the detective hung up, I closed my eyes, exhausted. The machinery of justice was moving now, grinding slowly but inexorably toward its conclusion. A final text came through from Josh. You think you've won? You have no idea what's coming. I showed it to Jacob when he stopped by with more paperwork. Empty threats, he said. He's cornered and he knows it. Will it be enough? Paris, you've documented everything for years. The fraud, the theft, the pattern of financial abuse. Trust me, it's more than enough. As if to confirm his words, my phone buzzed with a news alert. Local business executive under investigation for financial crimes. I thought of Monica's drawing, the crack in the ground between us and them. It wasn't a crack anymore. It was a chasm, and they were the ones who dug it. My phone lit up one last time. A message from the van buyer. I didn't know it was stolen. I'll return it. I want no part of this. The pieces were falling into place, but somehow victory felt hollow. The doctors finally cleared me to go home, but the war was far from over. Each day brought new opportunities for justice, and I seized them all. First came the anonymous tip to Josh's employer. Detailed documentation of every suspicious transaction, every forged document, every misappropriated fund. I included copies of Monica's medical records and therapy schedules, showing exactly what his theft had disrupted. The board wants a full audit, Jacob reported during his daily visit. They're talking criminal charges. My phone buzzed. Josh's wife again. He's drinking, she whispered. He keeps saying he'll make you pay. Record everything, I advised, and change your locks. Next, I contacted every financial institution Josh had ever dealt with, armed with proof of his fraudulent activities. One by one, his credit lines crumbled. Eloise brought Monica to visit, wheeling her carefully into my hospital room. My daughter's eyes were sharp, observant. Uncle Josh came to Grandma's house again, she said. He was yelling about Bitcoin. Did he scare you? No. Eloise called the police like you said to. They took him away. I squeezed her hand. I'm sorry you have to see all this. I'm not. Her voice was firm. He hurt us, Mum. He always hurt us. After they left, I received an email from Natasha, Monica's physical therapist. She'd compiled a detailed report of how the van's theft had impacted Monica's treatment schedule, complete with medical opinions about the psychological effects of suddenly losing mobility independence. I forwarded it to Jacob, who added it to our growing legal arsenal. The DA's office is interested, he said. This goes beyond civil court now. My phone lit up with a call from Mom. Josh's wife is leaving him, she said accusingly. Are you happy now? Was he happy when he stole from his niece? He made a mistake. No, Mom, a mistake is forgetting a birthday. He committed felony fraud. The police came to our house, her voice cracked. Do you know how embarrassing that was? Do you know how embarrassing it was explaining to Monica's school why she couldn't attend field trips anymore? She hung up. Minutes later, Dad called. Princess, he began, using my childhood nickname for the first time in years. "We can fix this. Just drop the charges. Like you dropped me when I needed help. That's not fair." Neither is watching my daughter lose her independence because her uncle needed gambling money. The next day, Josh's employer sent out a company-wide email about his suspension and the ongoing investigation. I'd made sure every local business publication received an anonymous tip about the story. "His professional reputation is finished," Jacob confirmed. "No one will touch him after this." My phone buzzed with a text from Monica. "Mum, are you trying to destroy them?" I stared at her message for a long time before responding. "No, they did that themselves." Eloise brought me more news from the outside world. "Josh tried to access his retirement accounts. They're frozen too. He's sleeping in his car because his wife changed the locks." "Good," I said, but something hollow echoed in my chest. The final blow came when Jacob arrived with fresh paperwork. "Remember those documents Josh forged to sell the van? We traced the notary stamp." "It's fake. That's another felony." I signed the new legal complaints without hesitation. Each signature felt like another nail in the coffin of my family relationships. My phone buzzed again, a message from an unknown number. "You think you're so smart, sister? Watch your back." I showed it to Jacob. "Perfect," he said. "Another violation of the restraining order. I'll add it to the file." That evening, Monica video called me from Eloise's house. "Grandma's crying on Facebook," she reported. "She posted about ungrateful children and family loyalty." "Are you okay?" She considered this. "I think so, but, Mom, what happens when it's all over?" "We rebuild," I said, "without them." "Will it be better?" I thought about the years of manipulation, the constant dismissal of Monica's needs, the way they'd always protected Josh at our expense. "Yes," I said firmly. "It will be better because it will be honest." After hanging up, I looked at my phone's growing collection of evidence, screenshots, recordings, documents, threats. Each piece another weapon in my arsenal of truth. But Monica's question echoed in my mind. What happens when it's all over? I didn't know, but I knew this. Sometimes the only way to heal is to first cut out the infection, no matter how much it hurts. The van came back on a Tuesday. I watched from my newly installed security cameras as the flatbed truck delivered it to our driveway. The buyer had settled for a symbolic $5 reimbursement, desperate to wash his hands of the whole mess. "Monica," I called up the stairs. "The van's here." She wheeled herself to the window and stared at it, silently. Finally she spoke. "I don't want to use it." "What? Why not?" "It doesn't feel safe anymore, like Uncle Josh might come take it again." My heart cracked. Another thing he'd stolen, her sense of security. "We'll sell it," I decided. "Get a new one in your name." My phone buzzed. Jacob with updates. "Josh's preliminary hearing is set for next month. The DA is pushing for criminal charges. Also, your brother's been spotted at local bars, making threats." "Any sign of him near the house?" "No, but keep the cameras running." I hung up just as Natasha arrived for Monica's therapy session. "The van's back," she observed, wheeling her equipment inside. "We're not keeping it," Monica announced firmly. Natasha nodded, understanding immediately. Sometimes objects carry too many bad memories. "Ready to work on those stretches?" While they worked, I checked my email. Josh's wife's lawyer had sent documentation, bank statements showing years of hidden gambling debts, forged signatures, emptied accounts. "He took everything," she'd written, "just like he took Monica's van. I'm so sorry I didn't see it sooner." A knock at the door made me jump. It was Eloise, looking worried. "Your parents are telling people you're having a mental breakdown," she said, "that you're persecuting Josh because of trauma from Robert's death." I laughed bitterly. "Are they also telling people about the fraud investigation?" "They're saying it's all a misunderstanding, that Josh had permission." "From who?" "My coma." My phone lit up, Mom calling again. I ignored it. "How's the job search going for Josh?" I asked Eloise. Not good. His suspension made the local business papers. Nobody's touching him. Another knock. This time it was a delivery. A large envelope with no return address. Inside were old family photos slashed with scissors. A note fell out. "You did this to us." I showed Eloise, who immediately called the police to report the harassment. "They'll want to dust for fingerprints," she said. "Don't touch anything else." Upstairs I could hear Monica laughing with Natasha. The sound made my chest tight. When was the last time I'd heard her laugh like that? My phone buzzed with a text from Jacob. "Josh tried to access your parents' home equity line. It triggered our fraud alert. Bank's freezing that too." "Good," I replied. "What's next?" "Police want to interview your parents about the forged documents. They're not cooperating." "Of course they weren't." They never did when it came to Josh. Natasha came downstairs as her session ended. "Monica's getting stronger," she reported, "but she mentioned having nightmares about the van being stolen again." "We're selling it," I assured her, "starting fresh. Smart move, trauma can attach to objects. Speaking of which," she handed me a business card. "This is a great family therapist for when you're ready." After she left, I sat with Monica watching TV. She was quieter than usual. "You okay, baby?" "Grandma called my phone today," she said. "She said we're breaking up the family." "What did you tell her?" "That they broke it first." She wheeled closer to me. "Mom, are we going to be okay?" Before I could answer, my phone buzzed with an alert from the security system. Motion detected in the driveway. We watched on the camera feed as Josh stumbled around the van, something glinting in his hand. "Is that a key?" Monica whispered. "No," I said, already dialing 911. "It's a knife." We watched in silence as police cars arrived minutes later, lights flashing. Josh tried to run but didn't get far. "Vandalism and violation of restraining order," Jacob texted later. "He's in custody." That night I found Monica staring at the van through her bedroom window. "We'll get a new one," I promised, "something better." "It's not about the van anymore, is it?" "No, baby, it's not." She nodded wisely. Sometimes the things that are supposed to help us move forward just keep us stuck in the past instead. I hugged her, marvelling at her insight. My phone buzzed again. Another angry text from my parents. I deleted it without reading it. Some things weren't worth saving, but others, like the sound of Monica's laughter during therapy, were worth every battle it took to protect them. The day I finally confronted my parents, it was raining. I stood on their porch listening to the wind chimes Robert had given them years ago, wondering if they even remembered who'd bought them. Mum opened the door looking older than I remembered. "Come to gloat?" "No, I came for answers." The house was eerily quiet as I followed her inside. Dad sat in his recliner, staring at muted financial news. "Josh is gone," he said flatly. "Left town last night. Blamed you, of course." "Of course he did." I remained standing, surveying the living room where so many family dramas had played out. "Did he tell you about the gambling debts before or after he sold Monica's van?" "He was trying to help the family," Mom snapped, "by stealing from his niece." "It wasn't stealing. He had paperwork." "Forged paperwork," I interrupted, while I was unconscious. "Would you like to see the proof?" "We don't need to see your proof," Dad said wearily. "You were always so dramatic about everything." I pulled out my phone, opened a document. "Remember when you co-signed that home equity line last month? The one Josh said was for his new business?" They exchanged glances. "Want to know what it was really for? Casino markers. 7 figures worth." Mom's face went pale. "You're lying." "The bank has all the documentation. They're investigating it as fraud. Did you know that's a felony when it involves property liens?" "What are you saying?" Dad's voice shook. "I'm saying you helped Josh launder money through your house. The bank's foreclosure notice should arrive tomorrow." Mom collapsed onto the couch. "That's impossible. He promised to pay back my college fund, or Monica's medical bills, or Robert's life insurance money he tried to steal." "You ungrateful little—" Mom started to rise. Careful, I warned. Everything here is being recorded. For the investigation. Dad's hands trembled. We can fix this, if you just drop the charges. Like you dropped us every time we needed help. Like you dropped Monica when Josh said her medical equipment was too expensive for family vacations. You were always so selfish, Mom screamed, always demanding special treatment. Basic mobility isn't special treatment, Mom. But you never understood that, did you? I pulled out another document. Here's something interesting. Josh used your house as collateral for his gambling debts 6 times in the last year. Did you even read what you were signing? Their silence was answer enough. The bank's freezing everything, I continued. They'll take the house within the month. I'd start packing. You can't do this to us, Dad whispered. We're your parents. No, you're Josh's enablers, and now you're his co-conspirators. Mum started crying, those familiar theatrical sobs that had always worked before. After everything we've done for you. Everything you've done? I laughed coldly. Let's list it. Ignored Monica's needs. Enabled Josh's theft. Defended fraud. Gaslit me about abuse. Did I miss anything? Get out, Dad said quietly. Just get out. Gladly. But first, I placed a final document on their coffee table. The DA wants to interview you about the forged paperwork. I'd get a good lawyer. As I turned to leave, Mom called out, You'll regret this. Family is all we have. I paused at the door. No, Mom. Family is what we choose, and I choose Monica. Outside, the rain had stopped. I got in my car and called Monica at Eloise's house. Did you see them? She asked. Yes. Are they sorry? No, they're just angry they got caught. She was quiet for a moment. Can we get ice cream on the way home? I smiled, feeling lighter somehow. Of course we can. My phone buzzed, a text from Josh's wife. He's gone. Left a note blaming everyone else. Classic Josh. Then another from Jacob. Banks moving forward with foreclosure. Your parents have 30 days. I drove to Eloise's house thinking about family legacies, about patterns broken and patterns repeated, about the weight of lies and the freedom of truth. Monica was waiting outside, beaming. I got an A on my art project. That's wonderful, baby. Ice cream, definitely. As we drove away, she asked quietly, Are we bad people, Mom, for letting them lose everything? I thought about years of manipulation, of watching her struggle while they enabled Josh's destruction. No, I said firmly. They lost everything because they chose to. We just chose not to save them from themselves. She nodded, understanding in her eyes. Sometimes love means letting people face their consequences. Exactly. My phone buzzed one last time. Mom again. I declined the call. Some chapters needed to end for new ones to begin. The new van arrived on a sunny morning, gleaming white with Monica's name proudly displayed on the registration papers. She wheeled herself around it, inspecting every detail. It's perfect, she declared, and nobody can take it away. Nobody, I confirmed. It's yours completely. My phone buzzed. Another blocked number. They'd been calling daily since my parents lost the house, since Josh disappeared somewhere out west, leaving a trail of bad checks and broken promises. Still getting calls? Eloise asked, helping Monica test the new wheelchair lift. They'll stop eventually. Have you heard where your parents moved? Some rental across town. They're telling people I destroyed the family. Monica's voice cut through our conversation. Mom, come look at this. She decorated her section of the van with art from her therapy sessions. Bright, hopeful paintings of butterflies and open skies. No more cracks in the ground, no more divided families. Beautiful, I said, fighting tears. Don't cry, Mom. This is a happy thing. My phone lit up. Jacob calling with updates. DA's office is moving forward with charges, he reported. They want Monica's therapy records to show impact. No, I said firmly. She's been through enough. Mom, Monica called from inside the van. "I want to help. I want to tell them what happened." I covered the phone. "You don't have to." "Yes, I do. For the next kid whose uncle thinks they're not worth protecting." I uncovered the phone. "Jacob, set up the interview, but on her terms." After hanging up, I watched Monica chatting with her physical therapist, Natasha, who'd come to approve the new van's setup. My daughter's laugh echoed across the driveway, strong, unafraid, unbroken. The security camera pinged. Movement at the front gate. I checked the feed to see my mother standing there, clutching an envelope. "Want me to call the police?" Eloise asked. "No, let me handle this." I walked to the gate. Mum looked smaller somehow, her designer clothes replaced with discount store brands. "What do you want?" "To give you this." She thrust the envelope through the gate. "It's Josh's confession. He sent it to us before he disappeared." I opened it carefully. Pages of angry scrawl detailing years of theft, fraud, and manipulation. His signature at the bottom, witnessed and notarized. "Why are you giving me this?" "Because," she swallowed hard, "because you were right. About everything." From the driveway, I heard Monica's voice. "Grandma?" Mom's eyes filled with tears. "She's gotten so big. Kids do that, even the ones you ignore." "Paris, Save it. The confession is enough." "Can I just tell her—" "No, you lost that right when you chose Josh over her safety." I turned to walk away, but her voice stopped me. "I'm sorry. I know it's too late, but I'm sorry." I looked back. "You're right. It is too late." Returning to the driveway, I found Monica watching curiously. "Was Grandma crying?" "Yes." "Good," she said simply. "Sometimes people need to cry to learn." I hugged her tight, amazed by her wisdom. My phone buzzed. Josh's wife. "Police found him in Las Vegas. More fraud charges. He's asking for help." I showed Monica the message. She considered it carefully. "Are you going to help him?" "No, some people only learn through consequences." She nodded, then brightened. "Can we take the van to my art class? I want to show everyone." "Of course." As we loaded up, Natasha signed off on the final mobility assessment. "She's thriving," she observed. "Stronger every day." "Yes," I agreed. "We both are." Watching Monica operate the lift herself, confidently manoeuvring her wheelchair into position, I felt something settle in my chest. Not peace exactly, the wounds were still too fresh for that. But something like victory, tempered with wisdom. My phone lit up one last time. The DA's office confirming Monica's interview date. She caught my concerned look. "It's okay, Mom. I'm not scared anymore." No, because you showed me something important." "What's that?" "That sometimes loving people means letting them fall. And sometimes falling means they finally learn to see what's really important." I watched her settle into the van, arranging her art supplies, chatting with Eloise about her next project. Strong, independent, unafraid. Revenge didn't give me back what I lost. But it showed them what happens when you take from someone who still has something left to lose. And, more importantly, it showed Monica that she was worth fighting for, no matter the cost. That was worth everything. "Ready to go?" I asked. "Ready," she smiled. "Let's make some new memories."